Bet you can hear me now. Holy cow. So, oh, that was epic. I love it. Hey, at least we got some, at least everybody's like, hey, you can't hear you, can't hear you. Chat was moving. That's good, right? That's a win. So I'm just going to start over. We're going to start this whole thing over. What is going on? Welcome to Nimmin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm going to be answering your YouTube questions. I'm going to be answering the questions so I can help you get a better understanding of YouTube so that you can grow your channel and you can get all the stuff that you want from being a YouTube content creator. I also want to let you know that this stream is brought to you by TubeBuddy, the #1 browser plugin for YouTube content creators. If you are a YouTuber, you need TubeBuddy. You can install it free at tubebuddy.com/Nimmin. I got a link to it down in the description of this video. But basically with TubeBuddy, it'll help you A/B test your thumbnails. It'll help you optimize your videos for search. It'll help you come up with video ideas. It'll help you identify opportunities around things that people are looking for that you can make videos about. So all the way around with that stuff and the additional channel management features, TubeBuddy is the tool that you need as a YouTuber. Install it through the description, the link in the description below, and start using it today. Now, I want to say thanks to everybody for just giving me a heads up on the audio. So I have a meditation live stream that I'm doing every day, and with that meditation live stream, I'm doing it through StreamYard as well. And because of that, I just finished that stream, and I didn't switch everything over. So thanks for the heads up on the audio. I appreciate it. So basically, if this is your first time joining the stream, I'm answering your YouTube questions. It's through the link down in the description below. Okay, it's 100% free. If you have a question about what it is you're doing on YouTube, just make sure that you put it in the form that is down in the description below this video, okay? And I answer them in the order that they come in. Right now, there's hardly any questions in there. So if you have a question you want answered, make sure that you go ahead and put it in there now so that I can get to it here during the stream. I also want to let you know that it is possible that we are going to have some other people joining us on the stream as well. So make sure that you hang out from that because with that, you will get my thoughts on things. You're also going to get their thoughts on things. And we're also going to talk about YouTube from the perspective of, of people that do YouTube as a thing, right? So real quick, I just want to say Shroom 2020. What's up? Hope you are doing fantastic. I want to say what's up to Seize the Day Studios. Nice to see you in here. Apple O, what's going on? Paul Peck Drywall Tube. What's up, dude? Doug Hewson in the house. What's up, man? Nice to see you in here. We've got Urban Explorer Neil. What's up, man? Nice to see you in here as well. Walt Disney World and SeaWorld Parks with Barry. Nice to see you here. Also hanging out, and everybody else that is hanging out here today for the live stream. Karma Cashflow, what's up, man? Nice to see you in here. Awesome, awesome having you on the live stream, the members only live stream there yesterday. So, Pipe Cleaner Crafts, what's up? Nice to see you in here as well. Shane's 9, thank you for the super chat, getting this party started, right? So, let's see here. I'm new to you. Give me tips about views. Okay, Pipe Cleaner Crafts B, what's up? Nice to see you here as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to get into the form, right? Because again, I want to answer your YouTube questions. I want to help you with what it is that you're doing on YouTube. So the very first question that we have here in the form, let me get to it, is from Steve McDonald Arts and Crafts. Steve McDonald Arts and Crafts says they upload to YouTube 1 time per week or more. They've been on YouTube for a year or more. They do epoxy resin for beginners tutorials. And the goal of the channel is to grow the subscribers and views over the next year to contribute towards my early retirement. And the question is, I've changed my thumbnails thanks to the support you and Dee give me on this. I'm now looking at expanding beyond epoxy resin for beginners. This channel has 2,500 subscribers and a loyal following. Should I introduce other crafts slowly on this channel or start another channel? I want to show videos of me trying different crafts, experimenting with crafts, and giving people examples of other crafts that I can do. So what I would do is I recommend that you experiment with like 1 or 2 videos, see how your current audience responds to that, look and see if they're actually clicking on it or not based on the viewers versus non-viewers for that particular new video that you're putting out. You can also go and look at things in your stats like the notifications, like people coming in off of notifications. Look at that information compared to previous videos and try to get a gauge of how your audience actually cares about that content. If they dig it, then that might give you the opportunity to expand, but if they are not responding to that content, then of course that's not the right place for it. So because of that, if they're not responding, then I would consider doing another channel, but using your current channel as a filter. And what I mean by that is, let's say you keep the epoxy channel and you just continually let people know that, hey, I've got this other channel. You're always linking to it in your end screens. You have it in all of your video descriptions. You just continually spread awareness about it so that people can go over and they can join that channel if they're into the additional crafts as well. So then your current channel, the epoxy stuff, is more of a filter. So that's what I would do in that situation. So real quick, I just want to say thanks for the super chat. Jonathan O'Rear, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Awesome Studios MC, thank you for the super chat as well, saying you deserve this because you are smart. Thanks, I appreciate that. And we've got a couple new channel members, which I'll welcome right here in a second. And let's see here. Yeah, so Cam Hassan, welcome to the channel membership. Make sure next time that you're on Facebook that you look for Nimminati VIP, because that is a members-only Facebook group. We actually had a live stream there yesterday talking about lighting and production, things like that. Eileen Smith, what's up? Nice to see you in here. And George Fontan, nice to see you join the channel membership as well. I think, weren't you a member last week? I think, maybe, not sure. But hey, same thing for you. Make sure that you join that members-only Facebook group if you have not already. But I think that you might already be in there. I'm not 100% sure. Danny Reacts, I am having a fantastic day. Thank you. Okay, so the next question that we have here on the list, and again, you can get your questions answered. If you're just joining the stream right now, you can get your questions answered by putting them in the form down in the description below. But this one's from Elite Creator TV, 4KCC. Welcome to the channel membership. Same thing for you. Make sure you check the community feed here because I got some free stuff in there for you. And make sure that you join that Facebook group. Next time you're on Facebook, look for Nimminati VIP and fill out everything on the way in. Everybody that just joined, fill out everything on the way in because I actually verify people on the way in to make sure you're legitimately a channel member. And there's some more free stuff for you in there too. David Duperoy says, hey, it's been a while. Just popped in to say what's up, formerly Dapper Dop. Hey, what's up, man? Hey, thanks for the shout out on Reddit the other day. I appreciate that as always, man. Nice to see you here hanging out in the live stream. Always, you know, Dapper Dop, David, always active in the community. So nice to see you hanging out in here as well, man. So Elite Creator is the next question here, and they upload one time per week. They've been on YouTube for less than 6 months, and it's a football channel, soccer, right? Not American football. And the goal of the channel is to give all the sport lovers all they need to know about football highlights, sport news, and everything all about football that I can offer. But for now, I'm at the base on using pictures since I don't have any access to football clips now. My question is that a football/soccer YouTuber, how can I grow and do better football videos? Study what the other people in your space are doing. Because you're reusing content, it's really going to come down to how you are framing that content. So, you know, if you introduce the content when it first comes up to where you do it kind of like a news show on these are the highlights of, you know, the football this week or whatever it happens to be. If you do it in that manner, then just you being a part of it is going to add to the personality of the channel. If you do that in a voiceover sense, something like that, that's another thing that will help you stand out. But what you got to do is you got to find a way to stand out because that type of content, super easy to make in terms of just finding clips, putting them together, and then uploading them to YouTube for highlights. So because of that, you need to add another layer to it. And that layer is your personality because that's the thing that will help you stand out. I would try that. And that basically means doing like voiceovers or having yourself on camera to where you're introducing the clips, kind of like you're a sportscaster of sorts. You're like, hey, and this week, you know, we did this and or that thing happened and this thing happened, where you actually make it more of a show type experience for the people that are coming in and watching your content. That's what I would try if I was going after that type of content. Seize the Day Studios, thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it bunches. Thank you. Let's see here. So next question that we have on the list. Hey, we got Dan from Creator Fundamentals in the house. What's up, dude? Nice to see you in here. Hey, just really quick, since he's here, I want to let you know that the People of Video, the online version of the People of Video, which is basically it was an in-person event that was going on, but now it's an online summit. So that is actually happening here in just a couple of weeks. So you can actually find that at peopleofvideo.com. And I'm doing a presentation there. Tim Smoyer's doing a presentation there. There's a bunch of other people that are also doing presentations there for that. So I really recommend you go check it out. Tons of value is going to be added over there. Let's see here as I'm working through these for you guys. Awesome Studio MC says you deserve this because you help a lot. Thank you. I appreciate that. And the next one on the list says the Billy Collins Show says, how long does it take to get some traction? I'm finding my niche, but my channel is growing slow. So that's a question that I get all the time. And the reason that I get that question all the time, real quick, the ADHD Gardener, welcome to the channel membership. Make sure you join the VIP Facebook group as well. Just look for Nimminati VIP next time you're on Facebook, and make sure you check the community feed here too as well. But basically, when it comes to channel growth and the expectation of, hey, I want this to grow really fast. Everybody wants their channels to grow really fast, right? That's the consensus across the board. If you want your channel to grow really fast, just give me a hashtag yes in the comments. That's what I want to see. Just give me a hashtag yes in the comments if you want your channel to grow quickly. But basically, when it comes to the expectations of how fast your channel grows, there's so many things involved. And some of those things that are involved are things like, how good are you at writing titles? Yeah, we got a lot of yeses in here, pretty much everybody. How good are you at writing titles? How good are you at making thumbnails people want to click on? How good are you at getting people to watch your videos for an extended period of time? How good are you at adding tons of value to the people that are watching your videos to where they want to keep coming back over and over and over again, or where they share that content with other people that then will introduce those people to your channel, which will help it grow faster as well, right? How good are you at all of those things? And the unfortunate side is a lot of people, and I'm not saying this is you, but there's a lot of people when you start out on YouTube, a lot of people just have to go through the process of like, okay, well, how do I put together good videos in terms of just the technical side of things? How do I make my audio sound better? How do I get my videos to an acceptable level to where I can compete in the particular niche that I happen to be operating in? So there's so many variables that you cannot say. And if anybody tells you this, they're lying to you. There's nobody that can say, start a YouTube channel today, and I guarantee you that within the next 3 months, you're going to have 100,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel, or 10,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel, or any other number that they would like to throw your way. You can't do that, just because there's so many different factors involved. And even within that, even within your skill set, let's say that you know how to put a video together. Let's say that you already have the production side and you know how to edit videos in a really good way and things like that. You also have to make sure that you know who it is that you're making the content for. You also have to make sure that the topics that you're choosing are giving you the opportunity to actually grow your YouTube channel, because you're tapping into something that has a broader interest, right? Because there's the one side of things where people are like, hey, make sure that you're focusing all of your efforts on search, which search is important. I'm not discounting it in any way, shape, or form, but there's the point of view to where it's like, hey, make sure that you're targeting everything that you're possibly doing in search, and that you're going for really long tail keywords so that you can make sure that you own those positions. That's a fantastic approach, and it's good because that gives you the opportunity to secure long-term traffic for your channel when you land in those positions. However, it also comes down to like, how many people are actually looking for that thing that you're trying to rank your video for? Is it, sure, you might get a good score on it and you might get your video in the #1 spot for a particular phrase, but if 100 people are looking for it over the course of the month, and then there's also some competition there, your ability to pull traffic from that specific term isn't going to be that huge, right? So because of that, you have to consider those things, and you have to learn. It's kind of an art of sorts, but you have to learn to balance. If you are targeting that sort of thing, you have to learn to balance. Hey, these are the videos that I want to make. This is the stuff that people are looking for and at scale. And these are the things that people are looking for enough, but maybe not so much, but still enough that I need to make sure that I'm making videos for these as well, for that longer tail stuff, but not too long tail, because I don't want to rank for something that nobody's looking for, right? So there's just so many factors that you can't put a timestamp on YouTube growth, unfortunately. But what you can do is you can focus all of your efforts, everything that you're doing, focus all of it on getting better results than you did on the last one, right? On learning how to do all of the things that are involved with all this stuff. That's where you focus your efforts. And if you focus your efforts on that and making sure that you're adding value to the people that are watching your content, and keep in mind, value is interpreted in a bunch of different ways. But what I mean by that is that people are getting something out of what you're doing. Make sure that you focus on basically the improvement of the skill sets that you need for YouTube. And I've got videos about, the things that you need to make sure you're developing, and make sure that you're going after the right topics, and keep just trying to make your videos better and more value to the audience than the last time. Focus on those things, and then the growth is going to happen, right? So you just have to get those things in order. Some channels, based on the type of content you make, some channels, they have the opportunity to where they can start today, and if they have all of those things in place, then they can grow, over the next 6 months, they'll get 100,000 subscribers. There's other channels that, if they have the same exact skill set, they're putting out the same exact type of thing, they're getting the same exact type of response, because the space that they're operating in is smaller, it might take them 6 years to get to 100,000 subscribers, right? So because of that, there's just so many variables involved that you can't really put a timestamp on it. George Fontan says, hey, on lockdown, hard to make architecture interior videos. I have thousands of pictures of my work. Any thoughts on slideshows with voiceovers? I did one on white apartments, few clicks, and 40% retention. Try them, right? Try them. So if you're like, hey, what should I do on my channel in order to still be able to make this content? If you come up with an idea, as long as it's a good fit for the people that you're trying to reach and the goals of the channel, try it. because you don't know, like doing that type of video might end up being something to where, you know, people just really like that type of content. Hey, I love the way this person talks, and I love how they just put these slideshows together so I can just sit here and watch architectural videos, you know, on my downtime. Like, you know, that might be something people love. So it's important for everybody in here right now. It's important for everybody to experiment with what you're doing on a regular basis, because unless you're experimenting, you don't really get to deeply understand what it is that the people that are watching your content are wanting from you. Maya Denny says, I want to grow my channel. Hey, best thing you can do is watch videos like this, participate in live streams like this in terms of the information side. And also, you know, just educate yourself in general. Go through the YouTube Creator Academy. It's 100% free. It's put out by YouTube. I've got a link down below. I've got a course coming out here within the next couple of weeks. I've got a link to the waiting list for that down in the description. You know, go and sign up for that as well. Like if you're interested in that, so that you can, you know, basically learn how to do all this stuff at a deeper level. Get on that waiting list if you are interested in that sort of thing. Let's see here. Where is Nick? Right here. Right here. Where's Candy? Oh, Candy is here. I see it. I see what you did there. Okay, next up on the list, we've got, let's see. Did I actually answer that one from Elite Creator? Yeah, I did. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, next up we have It's Infinity FIFA content. It's a gaming channel. The goal of my channel is to reach 1,000 subscribers with a small fan base who I can share my passions with. That's cool. The question is, how can a channel that has 75 subscribers in just over a week progress and reach wider selection of the platform with 3,500 views on my channel? My thumbnails are fully edited by myself and are attracting a lot more attention than I thought, and I'm confident with the topics that I talk about in my videos. Thanks, Nick. Much love and keep hustling. So when it comes to reaching more people, it really comes down to, like I said before, it comes down to like your topic choice, your ability to get people to click, your ability to get people to watch, and your ability to get people to engage further from there. Of course, there's additional things that you can do in terms of trying to get people to watch more and more of your content so that YouTube can identify, hey, when somebody goes to this channel, they click on these videos, or when we present this video to somebody on the platform, they watch this video, and then they watch another one of the videos on their channel, and then they watch another one of the videos on their channel. So then in that case, what happens is you start watching, or people start watching more than one video on your channel, which with every video that they watch, with every interaction that they have with your channel, you're increasing the likelihood of those people seeing your videos first when you publish a new one. And when those people respond to those new videos that you're putting out, and this is gold, by the way, so pay attention to this for everybody in the chat right now. If those people respond to it right away when you put those videos out, because you know the content that they want from you, and they start clicking on it, coming in and watching your videos, then YouTube is going to start showing those videos to more people that are like them. Because when YouTube shows your videos, they come in, they get a fair amount of watch time from the viewers that are watching your videos, and then they watch more of your content as well. YouTube really, really loves that thing. Or that thing. They really, really love when that happens, or their platform does, not YouTube, but the platform does. And in terms of like making thumbnails yourself and stuff, that's awesome. And it's good. But I would also make sure that you're testing, and once your views get up there and things like that, make sure you're testing your thumbnails. Really important. I just put out a video. It's actually the pinned thing at the top of the chat right now. At the top of that, it's basically like it says like learn about YouTube while you wait. If you click into that playlist, the very first video is the video on like how to make thumbnails that people click. If you're making thumbnails yourself, make sure that you watch that video when you get the chance. Chris says, first, I appreciate you, Nick. You're the best. Second, how important is watch time and catching the algorithm? It's extremely important. So basically, YouTube shows videos on how much watch time they generate per impression. So what that means is, every time YouTube shows your content to somebody on the platform, it can be on a homepage, it can be recommended in a sidebar or underneath a video if you're looking on a phone. It can be in the subscription feed, whatever. Anytime YouTube shows your video to somebody on the platform, that's an impression. So basically what they're wanting is every single time they show that, they're comparing all of the videos that they're basically testing against each other. They're comparing all of those videos to see which ones people click on at the highest rate. And because of the amount of time they watch the videos, how much watch time per impression are they generating? Now, a couple things to keep in mind here is if your click-through rate is really high, but your videos are short, then in that situation, depending on how competitive, that particular topic is in your space. But if your click-through rate is really high, but the videos themselves are, just a little bit shorter, then that click-through rate is going to cause people to come into your video more. And if more people are watching that video, even though it's shorter for an extended period of time, then what's going to happen is more people are clicking into it per impression, and that generates more watch time per impression as long as you can just hold them in the video. So because of that, watch time is pretty much the main thing that YouTube is weighting everything on. There's tons of nuance. There's stuff that they don't even let out of the bag. They say that I think it's like 100 or 1,000 different things that they measure with users. But the most important things that they've told us is, your ability to get people to click on your thumbnails and titles is extremely important. Your ability to get people and keep people watching your videos is extremely important. And your ability to get people to engage and keep coming back to the channel is also really important. So watch time is really, really, really important. Let's see here. So next on the list, we have, there's another super chat that came in. I just wanted to say thanks for Target's Wattitude. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Okay. So next question that we have here on the list is, who's your daddy, food and travel? Who's your daddy? Nice. I see what you did there. Did you get that when I said it in the chat? It's actually who's your daddy. Like Hoosier, like, what is it, Indiana Hoosiers or something like that? Yeah, but it's Hoosier Daddy. Like, who's your daddy? That's hilarious. I just want to say that really quick. Okay, so 1 time per week or more is the upload schedule. They've been on YouTube for a year or more. They do food and restaurant reviews and challenges. The goal is ultimately I want to do food and travel reviews full-time while traveling full-time. Very cool. If you ever make it to Chiang Mai, Thailand, shoot me a message. We'll grab a coffee or something. The question is, this may be a better question for your brother, but as a mobile creator, I feel like I'm at a disadvantage considering 70% of viewers on watch YouTube on their mobile device. What do you think YouTube is not more friendly towards? Why do you think YouTube is not more friendly towards mobile content creators? They're working on it. So for example, if you notice, they just did some updates to the app, the Creator Studio app. Some things I understand. Like for example, you'll see that the limitations on live streaming, for example, like on a mobile, like from a mobile device, if you don't have 1,000 subscribers, then you can't stream from that mobile device unless you use a third-party app. Now, if you are on a desktop computer, then you can stream, you can stream right away. So the reason I think things like that are in place is because like there's also a lot of kids that have mobile devices, right? So I think that limitation might be based on that. And that's just a theory. I don't know that as a fact or anything. That's just my theory on why that might be happening. But that's one thing that I would think of, where if I was running YouTube, I would be like, all right, these kids are streaming some stuff that is like not appropriate, or they're streaming stuff like out of their classes at school, or they just have their cameras on streaming stuff and they don't even realize what they're streaming, because they just turned it on. They're just clicking around stuff. I'm talking like little kids. They're just clicking around stuff because the parents just gave them the phone. Then they ended up streaming stuff that they shouldn't, little things like that. So that's what I would theorize in terms of like why they would limit, that sort of thing. Hold on, I gotta drop a link here for anybody that is, let's see here, that's coming in. There we go. Okay, so real quick, I just want to say the Arkansas Diamond Miner, thank you for the super chat. Says, thank you. You've helped my channel immensely. Awesome. Love to hear that. High five, fist bump. Hope everything is going great on your channel. Love getting that feedback. It's awesome. So basically, in terms of like them being friendly or not friendly to mobile creators, I mean, one, they've been working on like in terms of stats, they've been working on just getting the new beta over, according to Tom at YouTube. They've been working on getting the Creator Studio beta all, kind of worked out. And as soon as they made that major transfer over, they started putting people on the mobile app, and they're in the process of making that cooler. As a heads up, my brother Dee just put out a video on how to get dark mode on your Creator Studio also. So if you're into dark modes like I am, then Creator Studio now has it for a certain number of viewers, not for, I think it's like, I think he said like 13% of Android users, not sure on the iPhone. Okay. Next up on the list, we've got Super Epic Boy. It's the name of the channel, Super Epic Boy. Oh, Neil says it's not available in the UK for that. Interesting. Yeah, I'm still waiting on the dark mode too. I don't have it either. I went through like a ton of accounts. I've got a ton of accounts that I have access to, and I went through all of them, and not all of them. I went through most of them, and they don't have it. So I guess it's just my app not letting me do it. Let's see here. So the next up on the list is Super Epic Boy, and the channel is Minecraft. The goal of the channel is to get 100K subscribers and motivate others so they can start their own channel. It says how to get 100,000 subscribers in a year or two. You got to make content that people love. No way around it. There's no shortcut. There's no like, hey, just do this one little thing. You got to do all the things. You got to do all the things. And here's the crazy thing, especially in a space like Minecraft, it's huge, right? There's so much interest in Minecraft, especially in a space like that. Like, you have the opportunity to where it could just take you like 3 videos to drive enough views, to drive enough subscribers, to hit that goal relatively fast. So you have a great opportunity in that space. Unfortunately, you also have a lot of competition in that space and a lot of people that are really good that you're going up against. So you're going to have to be able to compete. So you got to make sure that you're coming to play, right? You're coming to play the game. You're not like, oh, I'm just going to give this a shot. I'm just going to, oh, hey, I need to just hurry up and get this video done. Nope. You got to get your video to the point to where you're like, is this as good as I can make it? And then you go watch it like in one of the top channels and you're like, okay, theirs is way better. Let me work on this a little bit more to see if I can make it as good as theirs. Because you have to be able to come to compete. Have to. Hey, good morning, Michelle B. Nice to see you here in the chat. Next question on our list, and just as a heads up, if you are just joining the chat, what we're doing right now is I'm answering your YouTube questions. I got a forum in the description of this video, along with a bunch of other useful links for YouTubers, but I got a forum in the description of this video where you can submit your question. Right now, with the amount of responses that we have, I'll still be able to get to like a nice amount. If you get your question in there now, I should be able to get to it depending on how talky we get. But if you get it in there now, we should be able to get to it unless we have like a huge influx all of a sudden. So just keep that in mind. But basically, I'm pulling the questions out of there. Every now and then I'll pull them directly out of the chat as well. And I'm also going to have some other people, if you're just joining, should not have taken a drink of that coffee, but I'm still going to do it again here in a minute. But we've also got some possible other people. I shared the link in the Facebook group, so there might be some other YouTubers coming in here a little bit later as well, so make sure you stick around for that. Future Entrepreneur says, I have a channel about money and online stuff. I want to know if YouTube ads will help. If you have a YouTube channel about money and online stuff, then you can absolutely run ads on that. You can run ads on any type of channel, but the thing you got to make sure that you're doing, and I just talked about this in my latest podcast episode, or not my latest, but it was a few back. But basically, when it comes to running ads on your channel, it's really important to make sure that you can make effective content first, because it doesn't matter how much money you're going to spend. If the people still are not responding to the content, it's not going to do you any good. So you still got to be able to, like, what I mean by that, as soon as you turn off the ads, you're going to turn off the faucet for the, traffic. So because of that, it's really important to make sure that you can get a response from viewers in terms of you can write titles they click on, you make thumbnails they click on, and you get people to watch for an extended period of time. And of course, you get them to further engage, keep coming back to the channel because they find value in what it is that you're doing. All of that stuff is super important, because if you just start spending money because you want to get in front of more people, if people are not responding anyway, then just spending money on it's not going to just magically make that happen. So because of that, it's really important to make sure that you're making effective content first before you do any type of, before you run any type of ads on it, in my personal opinion, because you don't want to waste the money, right? You don't want to waste the money. I also recommend that you get things to the point to where you can also have some type of ROI on the money that you're spending on your ads as well, because just spending money for the sake of inflating view counts and subscriber numbers, I don't get it if you don't have some way to get that money back on the back end. All right, next up on the list, we've got Kin Gaming, and the channel's a gaming channel. It's an entertainment and fun hobby. Says, hey, Nick, thanks. Because of you, I've hit 100 subscribers. My question is, how do you get more watch time, views, and to be recommended? So high five and fist bump to you for getting those 100 subscribers. I do want to let you know that you should make sure that you are committed to whatever name it is that you have for your YouTube channel and whatever branding it is that you have for your YouTube channel, at least for now, and go ahead and get the custom URL. What that is where people will put in youtube.com/ whatever your channel name is. You can claim that now that you have 100 subscribers. So make sure you go through that process. If you want to make it easier for people to how's that? Are we back? Got it. Okay, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, it looks like I accidentally hit the mute button. I don't even know how that happened, but hey, Okay, so the next question here is from Perdomo Cigars. Says, I post one video every 2 weeks and I'm growing quickly, 1,500 subs in my first 3 months. Can I expect faster growth if I move to once a week? That was the question. And hold on. Better. I still have no audio, or am I good? You're messing with me now. Because I have the mute thing, and I can see that the mute thing isn't taken. Okay, so basically, when it comes to your upload and uploading more, right? If you are already making content that people are responding to, you're uploading every 2 weeks, you already got 1,500 people responding to your content, which means you already have views coming in and that sort of thing. If you start adding more content, you go weekly, then in that case, then I'm pretty certain, and I didn't even look at your channel, but based on what you're telling me, I'm really certain that your channel will definitely grow faster, as long as you're putting out content that is of the same caliber and you're making similar content choices to what it is that you're making now in terms of the topics that you've identified that your viewers are interested in, that sort of thing. More content equals more exposure to that audience. It also equals more opportunity to reach more people in a wider audience. So because of that, if I was in your shoes and I was considering it, I would look at my stats, figure out the content that people are enjoying the most, go into your analytics, start looking for the views that drive the most subscribers, the ones that drive the most views. And let's see, you're at 1,500 now. So yeah, so if you've met the watch time requirements, if you're monetized, also go in, look at the content that's driving the highest ad rates for you, and just start cranking out those 3 pieces of content. And every time you put out a video, think, okay, this one's for subscribers, this one's to get views, this one's to make more ad revenue. And depending on what you're doing, because you're making stuff about cigars, if you're doing any type of affiliate stuff, then also think about that too. Like this one is to drive like affiliate sales is one of your thoughts that you think out when you're putting out content. And when you are putting out more content as well, because you are putting out, 4 pieces of content a week or a month, if you go weekly, you can do it that way. This one's to drive affiliate sales. This one's to drive ad revenue. This one's to drive views. This one's to drive subscribers. And just go into your stats, figure out what it is that the people are responding to the most, and then you are good to go if you double down on that content. Okay, so next up on our list, we have Cam Hassan. Cam Hassan says, random, but mainly how-to videos is the type of channel. Goal of the channel is to get big. The question is, hey, Nick, thanks for uploading all the helpful videos. My pleasure. I try to follow all of your advice. I make random videos, but still my channel is doing great. But I want to make specific videos, but I can't find my niche. If you can't find your niche, if you're somebody here that's having trouble finding your niche, give me a hashtag yes. Just so I know, just give me a hashtag yes, just so I can see if this is going to land and how long I should expand on this, because there can be a lot of information on this. Please help me with some video ideas. I'm good at doing motivational speech, but I don't want to be boring. Okay, a lot of people. Okay, so we've got a lot of yeses coming in. Okay, so here's the thing. When it comes to finding the niche on your YouTube channel, it's really important. Okay, let me back up a little bit. It's really important to think of it this way. YouTube is a long game. And what that means is whatever it is that you make now, it's going to be driving views for you over the course of the next, 5 years, 10 years, however long, your channel's around or YouTube's around or people keep coming onto YouTube and all of that. So because of that, it's really important to make sure that whatever content it is that you are putting out there is something that you enjoy and something that is going to help you accomplish a goal of some kind. And that is a great fit for a particular audience or a particular group of people. And really quick, Robin Herndon, welcome to the channel membership. Make sure next time that you are on Facebook, look for Nimmin ID VIP. Make sure that you join that group because that's part of it as well. Also, make sure you check the community feed here because there's some free stuff in there. Also, make sure that once you do join the Facebook group that you look around there too because there's also some free stuff for you in there as well. But yeah, so basically when it comes to finding your niche, because it's a long game, you want to think to yourself, okay, what type of content would I enjoy making for the foreseeable future? Of course, you can always, experiment, change things up a little bit and all that. Or, technically, you can just go in a completely new direction if you want. People do that from time to time. But basically what you want to do is you want to look at it and you want to say, okay, what type of content could I make for an extended period of time to where I would keep enjoying making that type of content, and it would also help me accomplish whatever type of goal that I'm looking for or that I'm trying to do from my YouTube channel. And when you're thinking about that, go into your own brain and think, okay, well, look around your place. What type of YouTube videos am I watching? What type of books am I reading? What type of magazines am I picking up? what type of things do I have laying around my house that I just always get more of because I enjoy those things, right? And just start thinking like, what is it that I'm actually into? What is it that brings me joy? What is it that I can make that will help me connect to other people like me? And start thinking along those lines, because when you do that, then what that's going to do is that's going to solve the very first thing, which is that's going to help keep you from getting burned out and help keep you from not walking down a path that you ultimately don't want to be on, okay? The next thing is, you also want to think about if you are looking for a specific niche and you're wanting to get big as your channel, you're going to have to finance that, right? Because part of growing a YouTube channel is investing in things like TubeBuddy, investing in things like, decent cameras or editing software, computers to put it all together, or apps, right? Paying for apps like Video Leap if you're on an iPhone, right? Because they have the free stuff and then they have like additional things that you can pay for to make the videos better, right? So, and I've got a special guest coming in right here in just a second after I get through this one. But with finding the niche that you're into, you want to make sure that it's sustainable in terms of something that you enjoy. You want to make sure that it's something that can end up bringing you money in some way, either through ad revenue, because it's something that typically gets a lot of views, that type of content, through any other type of way that you can make money on YouTube, through crowdfunding, selling stuff, making your own stuff, whatever it happens to be. You want to make sure that it's something that you can sustain in terms of your pleasure, something that you can sustain financially for a long period of time, because you're going to be investing tons of money into your channel over a long period of time. You also want to look into your competition and make sure that you can compete. Be honest with yourself. Say, okay, can I compete with the other people that are making content like this? If the answer is yes, then go for it. If the answer is no, then you want to say, okay, well, I'm still going to go for it because this is something that is true, like dear and true to me. So I want to make sure that I'm making content that I enjoy. But what do I have to do to be able to compete, right? What do I have to learn? Do I got to learn to edit my videos better? Do I got to learn to make better thumbnails? Do I got to learn to present on camera better? Do I got to learn to animate in a cooler way, right? Do I have to get better at these games if I want to compete in this space? Because everybody that's getting any traction at all is just crushing these games, right? Like you have to look in the mirror when it comes to that. But basically, when you're trying to figure out the niche, you have to look at all of these things so that you can make sure that what you're going into is something that you can ride for the long haul. Because when you start putting out content now, right? If you're putting out content now, YouTube, with every video that you're putting out, YouTube is identifying, hey, who's the right person for this video? Right? And the more those people keep coming back to your channel and watching more of your videos, the more YouTube is like, hey, people really dig these videos from this creator. And then they start going around to their user base and saying, hey, their systems go, hey, people, respond to this that typically watch content like this. So because of that, we're going to show this channel's content, at least these topic sets of videos, to other people that have never even thought of looking at this channel, because they respond to content like this based on how they interact with other channels around this type of content. So finding a niche is super important, because when you can serve that niche, then it gives yourself the opportunity to grow faster on YouTube as well. And when you find the right one, then you can make money from it so you can sustain it. And it's something that you enjoy doing so that you can keep doing it for as long as you can possibly do it for. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian G. Johnson in the house.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
And Brian is muted too. It looks like we're just having all kinds of... Oh, no, he's not. Say something, Brian.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
You're good, man. You are good. Welcome, Brian G. Johnson. So really quick, Brian.
Good to be here on the Nimmin Show.
I've got really quick. I just want to say, Oakley Auto Detailing. Good morning, man. Thank you for the super chat. It's appreciated. Also for let's see here, Think Different Today. Make sure that you look for that Facebook group as well, Nimminati VIP, and also for Daughters of Hadassah. Nimminati VIP is the Facebook group. Also, make sure that you look in the community feed for the stuff there. And for Nick Pick Thrift, thanks so much for helping us grow. I did purchase a year subscription through your link to TubeBuddy. Thank you. Awesome. High five, fist bump. Thank you for doing that through my link. I appreciate it, and you're gonna love it. Zombie Mess Kid says, how do I edit my gaming content videos separately from my editor in OBS? So basically, you can record it in OBS, and then you can basically open that video file in any type of video editing software, and then edit the video in there. And then you could technically load it back into OBS if you wanted to talk about it while you're going. Brian G., How's it going, man? Hey, another channel member. So really quick, I want to welcome this again. Brian's not even getting a chance to talk.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Do your thing, buddy.
Sober Leon, what's up, dude? Welcome to channel membership, man. So make sure you check the community feed. Make sure you join the Facebook group, and of course, I'll buy you a coffee once this coronavirus thing is done. He actually lives down the street. He's in Tube Ritual, Brian.
Yes, he is. I know Leon.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Leon. And we got another super chat. I was going to ask you a question, Brian, but hold on.
No,
you got a second? Do you have a second?
Let's just relax, brother.
Okay. Says, what do you think if I make videos on make money niche and also YouTube growing? Will this help my channel, or I need to stay on one niche? I would pick one niche. And the reason I would pick one niche is because the people that are looking for how to make money are not necessarily looking for how to grow on YouTube, right? Now, if you have experience and you actually know how to grow on YouTube, then you probably wouldn't be answering that question or asking that question, which also tells me that you should probably focus on the make money space. Brian G, how's life, man? How are you doing there in nice, comfortable, wonderful Colorado?
It's a beautiful morning. Just got outside. Just shot a little video, who knows if I'm going to use it. Just in the game, playing the game like you were talking about earlier, right? And just, what is it, like day 57 of quarantine?
It's up there.
Thank God for hairspray, man. I got to tell you, it's a little rough right now.
Yeah, it's up there. Yeah, podcasters, what's up, dude? Nice to see you in here. Yeah, so it's funny, man. I saw the post that you put out on Facebook where you're like, day 57 or whatever it happened to be in Facebook, and he's got this picture, right? He's got this picture, and his hair's all like crazy, and he's got this look on his face. It's hilarious.
For real, though. I think we're all feeling that.
Yeah, for sure, without question. Viper, what's up, dude? Viper in the house. Nice to see you, man. Rob Garinge, nice to see you in here as well. The Relationship Life, nice to see you here also. All right, just saying some hey to some folks. You got some love here in the chat also, Brian.
All kinds of people. So, Urban's here. Urban Explorer is here. Susie, Tube Ritual Group, also a coaching client, just hit 500 subscribers.
Here's nice. High five, fist bump, Susie. Yeah, boom. That's what I'm talking about.
YouTube.
Go, Susie. Go, Susie. Go,
yeah,
Susie.
Look at that.
Yeah. Got a little dance.
Is that mashing the potatoes according to the dance style evolution? That's like
I was making ice cream. That's what I was making. I was churning ice cream.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm making ice cream. I'm not mashing potatoes over here. I'm making ice cream, Brian.
You
got to know the difference. It's the hand motion. If I'm like this, then I would be mashing potatoes. Maybe.
Right.
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what's involved with all of this. This is just getting too complicated. You're the chef. You tell me. Was I mashing potatoes?
Who knows, brother? It's all good. Explain who you are. I don't know, Brian. I'm just Brian G. Oh, I know, Nick. Let's do it. Do it. I dare you.
Brian G. Johnson is the author of Tube Ritual. No, not
Nick.
That one. Links in the description, by the way.
Nick, now listen.
All right, go.
Okay, I need you to pull it down.
All right.
And I want you to
I've had 3 of these before the stream, and I'm also drinking another one.
It's gonna be good in a minute, but for right now, you just pull it down and listen to the instructions so you actually know what the hell's going to happen. I dare you to do this. Now I'm gonna hit a line, and then you're gonna hit the second line. And you
Intermana, welcome to the channel membership. I want to let you know to make sure that you check the community feed for some stuff for you there. Also want to tell you to make sure that you, next time you're on Facebook, you look for Nimmin VIP, the Facebook group. Make sure you fill out everything on the way in so that I can make sure to approve you because I verify everybody on the way in. All right, Brian, go. Bringing it back down. All right.
No, we're all done now. So we're done with that. Yeah.
Oh, that was it? Oh, did I blow it? I blew it. Blew it.
All good. Hey, there's Beanie. Beanie's in the house. All the cool kids.
Beanie is in the house.
Man, I got to tell you, what's really cool, Nick? What do you think? Community on YouTube. That's the thing that was unexpected for both of us, I really believe.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about this. I kind of come down the stairs. I'm eating my berries, my granola. I'm drinking coffee and whatnot. And I'm thinking about, we were in Venice Beach. We always go to Venice Beach. It's just what we do when we're at Vid Summit. And I was thinking about the crew that was lined up at the skate park. There's 15 people there. And it's just such an amazing thing that we all come together. So all of you folks here that are in this live stream, this isn't just you're not just a subscriber. You're a human being. You're a person. So many amazing people. There's Doug. I was thinking about Doug. I was thinking about all the people.
Daniel Batal in the house.
I was thinking like when we got started, see, the thing is me and Nick got started right around the same time, and we didn't have anything. We had very small channels. We had big dreams, small channels, a little bit of a belief and power, and we just kept moving forward. And now it's like it's just so amazing all the things that can and do happen, but you got to be willing to put in the sacrifice and the effort. It's like anything else in life. You can't just show up and expect greatness in your life when you haven't acted in a great manner. You can't publish 3 or 5 or even 20 videos and expect to be a big shot. It takes a bit of time. And
how many videos have you put on your channel, Brian?
What was that last thing you said?
How many videos have you put on your channel?
I'm not very good at math, and like after 500, I kind of just, it doesn't.
Okay, but I just want to say that's testament to what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
That's testament, like just cranking them out, because that's what it takes, right?
Yeah, and the thing
doing
is,
what it takes.
Like, it's like you get to a point and it doesn't really even matter. I think of course I want more subscribers, but like as I was approaching 100,000 subscribers, it mattered a lot. And now it's just, I want to make another video. I want to pull the growth back up. I want to see the views. It's not even so much how many subscribers. I just want to like play the game, and it's super rewarding to think like I did a live stream the other day. It's happening for you right now. Like to go live for a few hours and make hundreds of dollars. Like think of all the people that go live and they don't make anything. It's just
and they don't have people in there yet, right? The thing is like keep going, because like if you are, like if you're just starting on that journey, like it's important that you see situations like this as like inspiration, right? And be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to keep on trucking. Real quick, I want to welcome Scott Bailey to the channel membership. And I also want to welcome Black Belt Secrets to the channel membership. That's a cool channel name. For both of you, make sure that next time you are on Facebook that you look for Nimmin VIP and fill out the form on the way in. Also check the community feed for stuff in there as well. And a quick question here from George Fontan says, been blogging for years. On Google, it can take months for a post to take off to get traffic. Do you see that for YouTube? How long do you wait before tweaking titles, thumbnails, and stagnant videos? So here's the thing. When it comes to, actually, you want to answer this one, Brian?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Do your bit and then I'll add.
Okay. So basically when it comes to changing titles and all that stuff on YouTube, you can really base that on the averages that are happening on your channel, but you do have to be careful. And this is where intention comes into play. So for example, let's say that you are trying to rank a video in search, right? If you're trying to rank a video in search, it can take a while for those videos to end up in like those sweet spots, right? So because of that, just getting it out there, knowing what that purpose of that video is. The purpose of this video is to rank it for these specific terms in search and going after that. And then just pretty much waiting for it to happen. In terms of response, you want to keep an eye looking in your traffic sources, making sure people are watching it for a fair amount of time, clicking on the thumbnail at a fair rate for search, if that's what you're targeting. But when it comes to other traffic sources, depending on the averages on your channel, you might be able to detect that right away. But sometimes it can also be to where a video will get published and then it can take some time for that video to accumulate enough activity to where YouTube all of a sudden finds the right audience for it. And then all of a sudden they'll hit it with like a laser beam and that video will just take off out of nowhere. A great example that I like to give on my personal channel is when I had a period of time to where I was like, hey, I'm going to start doing Mobile Monday. And real quick, for you mobile content creators here, let me know if that's something that you would like me to get back on. But basically, it was Mobile Monday, and the idea was every Monday I'm going to make something for mobile content creators. It's going to be something about doing something on your phone. And I did a handful of those videos, and when I did them, right out of the gate, they just tanked. Completely tanked. Nobody responded to them. I was like, oh my gosh, I'll try another one. Bam, completely tanked. Another one, bam, tanked. And this happened, I think, for like 5 or 6 Mondays. And I was like, you know what? They're not digging this. I'm done. I'll cancel that series because it's not getting a response. Well, lo and behold, after I think it was about 6 months, one of those videos started doing really well. And since that one video started doing really well, it actually ended up ranking in Google and pulling tons of traffic from Google, ranked in YouTube, started pulling a lot of traffic from YouTube. Because of all the activity that was happening on it, YouTube started showing it to other people on the platform. And now those mobile videos have, I think 3 of those mobile videos out of the 6 that I did have like over 1 million views on them, right? So it took some time for them to accumulate the information for YouTube to know who is the ideal person for it. But that didn't come down to me going in and changing anything. I just left them. I was like, all right, this video is up. And I know when Brian comes on and talks about this, one of the things that he's probably going to talk about, Femininity with Mama Gail, welcome to the channel membership. Same thing for you. Make sure you look for Nimminati VIP next time you're on Facebook. But one of the things that Brian's probably going to talk about here is, and if not, I'm just going to say it, is to basically make your video for the purpose that you have that video for, put it out, and then what do you do after that, Brian?
I mean, I'm curious.
You make another video.
Tell me what I'm going to say, because like...
You make another video, right? You just make another video. And then you have that intention for that next video as well. Jevin Dovey is in the house. Hey, Jevin, man, just as a heads up, that link is in that Facebook group.
And Daniel, too. Hey, Daniel,
or that
so many cool kids.
There is.
In the stream.
But he says that one of his best performing videos took over 150 days before it skyrocketed. Other things to consider as well is there are also things just out of nowhere. Like, for example, this whole quarantine thing has caused a lot of people to start having an interest in live streaming. And because of that, myself and a few other channels that have really good live streaming content, they've also seen big lifts from some of that live streaming content. So, you know, there's also just out of nowhere things that can happen that can also cause a lot of activity on a video or a channel. Brian, thoughts?
100%. Nick, you're on fire today. Put the coffee down. Put the coffee.
Yeah, man, I've got like about a quarter of this left. And then what's going to happen, because I had like 3 before, I have this one. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to be like, woo, and then it's just going to be like, bam. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. So
here's what's up. Here's what I want to share when
here's
it comes
what's up.
Here's what's up. Like, okay, so we know that over time videos can blow up. And as we move forward, you might not think it's working, but as long as you're always, like Nick said at the beginning of this stream, really focused on improving, really focused on how to grow your channel. Sometimes it's really tough as a creator that shares how to make it happen. What we see, what Nick sees, what I see, what Daniel Batal sees so much is like, how can I get views? How can I get views? The amount of people that ask, well, what about retention? Or is this a good thumbnail? Or how can I be more compelling? Those are the questions to ask. So when we apply that to like, how long is it going to take? The thing to think about is you choose a niche where you know you're going to be able to move forward and get some results in time. You know it's proven. So like mobile content is huge. When I launched my channel, I did about a dozen videos on iMovie for the iPhone. And some of those videos, just like Nick's videos, have done, I think, close to 700,000 views. Now, check this out. I made these videos when my channel had like 2,000 subscribers. Brand new channel. So when you're like, well, it's easier, you've got more subscribers. Well, that wasn't the case. In fact, those videos are still some of my best performing videos. Now, here's where people, I think, Nick, they kind of get things mixed up. And that is, they're putting out the videos and then they start to think it's not working, and then they go to a different niche or they do something else. When if you just stay in the cycle, I'm going to keep striving to improve. Right now I'm working on thumbnails or my video editing. How is my delivery on camera? Super important, overlooked. Like how many times, Nick, let me ask you, Nick, for every 100 people that ask you to how to get views, how many people say, how can I improve my delivery?
I don't think I've ever had somebody just straight up come out and ask me, except for Matt Geelan when we were at ClamorCon, ask about delivery. And
how important, listen, if you're watching this stream right now, I hope you just caught what we're talking about. So now I'm going to ask Nick, how important is it to have good delivery on camera, and what does that mean?
It's paramount. And basically what that means is that when you are communicating, that you're communicating in an engaging and clear way that is a good fit for the people that you're trying to reach with your channel. So as an example of this, let's say that you are making content where you are targeting like a younger demographic. In that particular situation, then, you know, using all the, you know, crazy YouTube-y over the top type of stuff is fine. Whereas if you're targeting like an older demographic, then you might want to wind it back a little bit and maybe be, you know, you still want to be you, but in terms of like all of the like hypey type things that you might do in your thumbnails or that you might do when you're actually communicating, even the language that you use is important, because the language that you use tells tons about you to the audience that you're trying to reach. So for example, if you're trying to reach a more educated audience, you should be communicating in a more educated way so that you can reach those people in a better way that will resonate with them. If you're trying to reach the masses, so to speak, then pulling a Donald Trump where you communicate in a way that pretty much everybody can understand is going to most likely be the better road for you. So keeping all of those things in mind is extremely important when you're trying to think of how you are communicating with people. And one of the things that Brian and I are always workshopping back and forth is, how can we make this easier for people to understand? How can we make this more clear? How can I communicate this in a way that even more people are going to be able to get value from this? And because of that, people dig what it is that we do, because even if you just come into YouTube and you're just starting on YouTube, you know what? Give me a hashtag here. The Relationship Life says, how can I improve on my delivery? I think you're a channel member, so we can actually work on that in one of the members only live streams. But basically, and I like how somebody finally answered. So now we'll never ask that. So now we won't ever be able to say that again. But basically, how many people here in the live stream are having trouble with their, let me ask you this. Actually, let me back it up. How many people here are just getting started on YouTube? If you're new to YouTube, give me a hashtag new. I just want to see something here really quick. So if you're new to YouTube, give me a hashtag new. We've got Nitpick Thrift, me. We've got Orton Dorna says me. Dendman Gaming says yes. Yeah, so we've got all these hashtags, all these news. Look at this. Okay, now, because there's so many people in here that are new to YouTube, if you think this through, because there's so many people in here that are new to YouTube, if Brian and I start communicating in a way to where we're using all of this crazy lingo all the time, all this like marketing lingo, all this like YouTube lingo, to where you have to kind of have you got to be in it for a while before you start even hearing certain words and things like that. Like if we start communicating in that way, then all of those people that just said new, you're not going to get a ton from our content because you're not even going to understand what it is that we're talking about, right? So because of that, we have to take everything it is that we know about this stuff, and we have to think, okay, if somebody new is watching our content, how can we say this in a way that that's gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, I totally get what this guy's talking about, right? And that's what we work on all of the time, and we're constantly going back and forth on clarity.
It takes a lot of thought. It takes so much thought and processing. It's like, imagine when you were in school and there was a few subjects and teachers you loved, and you didn't mind so much going to that class. But there's always the class. Everyone has a class that they dread. For me, it was math. And it's like, I couldn't understand the teacher, and it was so hard to be interested. It's like, if you can't understand, how can you be interested? And when you watch videos on YouTube, it's the same thing. Furthermore, like, what if you're a gamer? There's a lot of gamers in here, I bet. One of the things to consider is, if you know the lingo of gamers and you use that in your videos and you speak clearly and you're fun to be around, then you're all part of the same community. If I say I own that player, like, I'm an old dude and my reflexes are gone, but you know what? I own that person. And I've done that. It's like, at that point, we're all together in the same community, and the viewers are like, oh, he's one of us. She's one of us. So like, how you communicate is really, it's the thing, again, that not very many people, in fact, I asked Nick, and he said, nobody has ever asked me about delivery, which is kind of weird. It's like so important. It's probably one of the top 2 or 3 things, and nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
Ironic.
So really quick, I just want to address some super chats here real quick. So 4-ounce Fight Plan says, any tips for a full-time worker who's trying to build their channel? Absolutely. So if you're trying to build your channel, you have a full-time job that you're doing, schedule it. Schedule in your channel time. So everybody, even full-time YouTubers, even us, like, we still have to make sure that, hey, with all of the stuff to do around our YouTube channels, we also have to make sure that we are putting the right time into the right things on our YouTube channels. And because of that, the day is scheduled to where it's like, okay, these days I'm making content. These days I'm working on other things that are around the channel. But in your case, what you would do is you would take our version of these other days we're working on stuff around the channel. You would take that as, those are the days that you're doing your normal, work stuff. I know you're doing your work stuff every day, but what I'm getting at is you basically need to schedule time every day, or certain times of the day, to where you might, or certain, like maybe in the evening or maybe in the morning when you're getting started in the day, to where you're like, okay, I've got the energy to put into this. Schedule a time every single day, even if it's an hour a day or 30 minutes a day. Schedule that time in so that you can get into the habit of making it a priority to work on it every single day, as long as it's worth the sacrifice to you. because that's a really important part of this, because with everything it is in our lives, there's something that you give up in order to do one thing, you have to give up doing other things, right?
Boy, that last part is so important, Nick. Like, that's the thing I just want to add to that is, like, if you've got a full-time job, if you're a student, if you're like, wow, it takes so much time and I'm so tired, basically what's happening is you're not doing the thing Nick just shared, and it's critical. You have to do this because YouTube is so incredibly demanding. You have to sacrifice, and you have to say, I'm not going to play game. I'm not going to game for a while. Like, I think a lot of gamers probably think YouTube is like, I'm going to play my game, I'm going to press record, and then I'm going to take footage and make a video. The way I see it is, okay, I'm going to think about a really cool topic that my audience, the gamers playing this game, really are excited about. And then I'm going to go record specific kind of gameplay. That's very different than just pressing a button. It's got, like, you've got intention, and really taking the time to sacrifice, if you're a full-time worker, is just absolutely critical because it's demanding. And just knowing that going in is so helpful, because then you don't have these pipe dreams. Your expectations are more in check.
Yeah. And with that too, other things that you can do is, one, after you get it scheduled in, you can also start thinking of what it is that you do during that scheduled time every day. So for example, one of the things that you'll always hear us talking about is batch producing content, as long as the content that you're making, as long as you can do that. Daily vlogs, obviously you can't batch produce. Technically you probably could, but when it comes to, a lot of content, you can batch produce it. And what that means is when you sit down and you're like, okay, I'm going to make content, instead of making one video, or instead of looking for, one keyword phrase, or instead of looking for one video idea, or instead of looking for, instead of making one thumbnail, like that kind of thing, you actually sit down and you're like, okay, well, this 30 minutes I'm going to spend just coming up with my next 2 or 3 topics I'm going to make videos about. And then the next day you're like, okay, well, this day I'm going to research them. And then the following day, you're like, okay, these are the days that I'm actually going to make the content. No, let's say if you script your videos or you bullet point them or whatever, then those are the days that you actually plan the content out, and then you make it on the following day, and then you edit your videos on that next day. Now, 30 minutes, if you only have that 30 minutes to spare, you're not going to be able to get a lot done. But if you have, more time to where you can basically block out different parts of the creation process, or dedicate certain days to them, or certain parts of that day to them, and you can create in batch, that'll also help you out, because in that situation, what you can do is you can get ahead on content. And when you get ahead on content, that leaves you more room to explore for, hey, I'm going to dig into my stats. I'm going to have 2 days out of the month that I'm going to schedule in to dig into my stats and really try to get an understanding of how people are responding to what it is that I'm doing. Or I'm going to spend another day or two just on education, to where I'm going through the YouTube Creator Academy. I'm taking Brian's course. I'm taking Nick's course. I'm going through the YouTube Creator Academy. I'm doing that sort of thing. I'm watching videos on YouTube on how to get better on camera, or how to optimize keywords, any of the stuff, but just where it's education, right? So that's what I would do in the process of having a job. And just as a heads up, when I first started YouTube, I actually had a design service and all that stuff that I was doing. And because of that, when I first started YouTube, I had that too. Fortunately, I loved YouTube. So when I was supposed to be doing client work, I would start running late on deadlines and stuff, because I was like, hey, I want to publish a video to YouTube. But I know a lot of people can't do that. I don't have kids or anything like that. So I'm a little bit more flexible. For people with more obligations, they're not as flexible in situations like that. But just wanted to give you that food for thought. So another question that we have here says, hey, from Korea, sorry. Nick and Brian are my favorite mentors. My channel started 3 weeks ago and has 1,000 watch hours, mainly from the US. If I want to use Uscreen, do I need exclusive videos for that? So if you are going to go onto Uscreen, making exclusive videos is a bonus, because making those videos, and I've got another special guest coming in right here in a second, but making those videos for Uscreen, if you do have exclusive content, it gives people a reason to actually go over there to want to get that content. So if it's the same exact stuff and you're just basically taking the videos from your channel, putting them on Uscreen, there's not really a reason to go over there. So you want to create additional stuff for them, so that when they go over there, that they actually get something new. Ladies and gentlemen, hey, Jevin Dovey in the house. What is up, Jevin? Nice to see you, man. Welcome to the live stream. The crowd is going crazy. The crowd loves him. Welcome to Nimmin Live. All right, how's it going, man?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome aboard, man. How are you?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Going great, man. Coming from sunny California. Jevin, how's the How's life treating you over there?
It's good. It's busy. With a 1-month-old newborn,
Yeah, congratulations again.
Hands are full.
Yeah. Hey,
And
let's
you're
give a
still
congrats to
publishing
Jevin, 1-month-old newborn. Woo! Yeah, it's good, man. Good. He's like, okay, yeah, whatever. Stop with the applause. Stop the applause. Oh, absolutely love it. So, Jevin. So as you're just coming in here, so a lot of content creators in here that watch all three of us. So do you have any recommendations? We asked a question here just a little bit ago on new content creators. And hey, hashtag new, if you're new, let us know type of thing. And we had a lot of news come in. So do you have anything that, like, if there was like something to where you're like, hey, all new content creators need to make sure that they're focusing on this particular thing, what would that be?
For me, it would be just making sure that you're putting out like the best content that you can, but also not killing yourself with the trying to over polish everything and be like a complete perfectionist. I mean, on my channel, what's helped me get to where I am has been a mix of, putting out high quality content, but at the same time, putting out consistent content where it's a video or 2 videos a week for 4 years. I think I've put out like 560 videos now. And I didn't really see massive growth until about that 200 video mark.
Nice. So just keep making content. Stay consistent, keep going after it.
But also focus on like your lighting, your camera, your audio, like actually work on all that. You don't have to be perfect at everything right out of the gate, but with each video, focus on one thing. So like the next video, if your lighting wasn't the best, like maybe just take some time, learn some better lighting skills, and then apply that to your next video and do that video after video after video. And then, 200-300 videos down the road, you're going to have amazing looking content.
I just want to add to that. Inner Mana says, it can get overwhelming. And here's what's up. What Jevin just shared is absolutely gospel and will help you so much because it completely removes the overwhelm. The thing is like you can look at all the stuff you have to do. And let me tell you, everybody will tell you all of the stuff you have to do, but maybe you don't. Maybe you can focus on the core fundamentals. It's so funny. It's like Jevin has just preached exactly what I've preached for 3 years now. It's like subtitles. Okay, maybe whatever. Lighting. Yes. Audio. Yes. Delivery. Being compelling. And if you just focus on one of those things at a time, you don't have to worry about all that other crap. And quite honestly, you can't anyway. And the overwhelm is gone. And then all of a sudden you get to video 50 and you're going to see a clear improvement that has an absolute impact on your ability to get what we all want, which is traction on YouTube. So it doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's a choice we really can make.
Yeah. And, just as a quick sample, like the studio that I'm in now,
which is awesome, by the way.
Oh, thank you. So if you go back in my library a few months ago, you'll see that I was just in this space, but it was like a garage with shelves and I just shot anyways. And over the period of like probably 15, 20 videos, you can see the evolution of this studio to what it is today. And in the last couple of videos, I've actually put multicams in here. So I have a slider over here. I have a jib over here. And so I've made this like more in-depth studio, but it's not like I just like flipped a switch. It was like, all right, this is what I'm going to build for my studio. And this is what I'm going to do. It was like, okay, I'm going to add this one thing. All right, I'm going to add this one thing. And over time, I've built a studio that I'm actually really happy with.
Small steps taken over a period of time usually equates to walking about 2 blocks.
But the funny thing is you can see that, because everybody in here, they watch, all of our content. If not, you need to subscribe to both of these guys too. Just Google their names here YouTube, search their names and their channels will come up. I think I got one to Brian since he was in here last week, down in the description below. But when you are, looking at your own stuff and you're like, oh man, I know I can do this better. Like go look at our first videos, go find all of the content creators that you watch, look at the videos that they put out on their channel before. If you have a problem with being a perfectionist, go and look at the content of the people that you watch right now, their first videos, and it'll really give you some insights on the journey, the progression that takes place when people come on to YouTube, and it reminds you that everything doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes non-perfect videos. Sometimes videos
that makes me a little uncomfortable when you tell people to go look at my early videos.
I like especially Brian's. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because like You go back to my old library and I'm like doing camera reviews in a onesie in my kitchen table with the worst audio possible. I'm like, all right, well, I'll leave these up. I mean, they still get views, which is crazy to me. But like, yeah, I've come a long way from where I started.
So the next question that we have here, go ahead, Brian.
No, I was just going to say that's what's so fun, though. I think early it's all about getting views and subscribers, and I think you reach a place eventually where you're like, it's more about the personal journey, and I want to do better. And then when you get to that place, number one, it's more fulfilling, and number two, then you get more views and subscribers. So.
Next question we have on the list is from Evo. Evo does daily content. They've been on YouTube for a year more. It's a gaming channel. The goal of the channel is to build a stronger gaming community in the Oceania region. And the question is, I asked this question last stream, but couldn't stay long enough for you to answer it, but my views on streams are always fluctuating. Is there any way to keep it consistent? The best advice that I have for you on live streams and keeping viewership consistent on live streams is just show up. Just keep showing up, pick a time that you're live streaming. And like Jevin was just talking about, being consistent with what it is that you're doing with whatever it happens to be, uploading, live streaming, uploading sometimes, live streaming sometimes as part of, how you're putting out content, whatever schedule that you keep it. Right. And when you do that, people are going to start to identify, hey, at this day, this time, nonstop, all the time, this person's going live. And then over time, people will start coming in there and they'll start participating on a regular basis, and they'll hang out, as long as you're providing a good experience for them. So if you're live streaming, one thing that I do want to recommend to you is a lot of people will live stream and they'll just turn it into a hangout of sorts. It'll be like a, hey, let's just, hang out and talk, which is cool. But you also want to make sure that, that you're also remembering what people come to your YouTube channel for, and try to incorporate that in some way with what it is that you're doing. Now, part of being a content creator, people, of course, are going to connect to you as a creator, but people, will also come to you for entertainment, or they'll come to you for tech information, or they'll come to you, like in our case, for YouTube-related things. And because of that, in order for us to bring the most value to you and make you want to keep coming back, what we do is we go live on our channels and we talk to you about YouTube, because that's what you're interested in. We don't just come on and we're like, oh yeah, hey, how's it going? Yeah, so, today I did this, that, and the other thing, and I've been working on this, and, like that kind of thing. Like, we're not doing that type of stuff. We're still focused on adding value to you as a viewer. So when you go live, you want to make sure that you're doing that same thing, that you think of your viewers and think, okay, of course, this gives me an opportunity to let them into my personality and let them, kind of see the unpolished version of myself, but you still want to make sure that you're streaming for the enjoyment of the people that are watching your content, or the people that are going to be shown that live stream when you do it. Anybody have any suggestions on live streaming?
Don't spit on the lens.
All right, so no spit on the lens. Okay, so next up, we've got...
I did that once on a TubeBuddy stream. It was awesome. Everyone's like... It's live
that shows, perfection, right? That's definitely not perfection. You're walking up to it like... right? So next up, we have Renford Plays. Renford Plays says that they have a gaming channel. The goal of the channel is to make enjoyable content, and the question is, how do I get more views on my videos? So I answer this question all of the time. Jevin, how do you recommend people get more views on their videos? Because they always hear the same version from me, because I have kind of like a spiel for this. So like with you, what's your version of how somebody can get more views on their videos?
Yeah, I guess it comes down to approach, because there's different ways that you could approach your channel. So like if you really want to attack like a search-based strategy, then going after specific keywords that people are actually searching for, and optimizing your video for that keyword is one way to really grow a channel. Another way is to create content that really jumps off each other. So like think of like series in a way, so that if somebody watches one video, they're going to get excited to watch the next video and the next video and the next video, and you put them in like a playlist. You create like a bucket around that, and then if you set it all up properly, YouTube will start suggesting those videos on that sidebar, because it's a very similar video, and YouTube's going to be like, oh, if they like this video, they're also going to watch this other video. So that's like a suggested based strategy. So there's just different ways to approach YouTube, and I've done both, and both have worked in different ways. So some of my videos have taken off in search, and some have taken off in suggested. But the core of building a channel and getting views is creating consistent content, knowing who you are and what kind of videos you are going to produce, and not going after like 1,000 different things, but really focusing in on one niche. Everyone always says this all the time, but I even think when you're in like a niche, even niching down even further at first to get those initial views and then start expanding and expanding.
Excellent.
One of the things to consider is when you're thinking gaming, and it really applies to any niche, but let's take the gaming sector, for example. I just mentioned this. It's really easy just to start thinking, I'm going to go game for 4 hours and then press a button and record. But if you really want to get views, the thing you have to consider is there are so many gaming YouTubers that are creating content in that way. And when you do that same thing, your content does not stand out. It's like every other video they've seen on YouTube because it's gameplay. Now, if you look at the very best gamers, really there's always one core fundamental, one element that makes them stand out. And it's that they add a unique spin. They create something that's different. And again, it stands out. It's not gameplay. When I was playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, I saw some videos that were really interesting. It wasn't so much PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. It was like weird, goofy things you could do in the game. Like one guy made a video about like terrorism in the game, and he would like rig stuff up, and it was really a different creative video. Another way to think about it too is you might be a huge personality. If you're a gamer, you know Dr. Disrespect. Why does he have such a huge following? Because he's a really, really big personality. When Jevin says, hey, you've got to know yourself, if you know you have the ability to create a really cool persona, then you go in that lane and you do that again and again and again, and you strive to improve that. And then you come out the other side. All of a sudden you hit that 200th video and things blow up because you've created something that people can only experience on your channel.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Hopefully that answered the question for you, which I'm 1000% sure it did. Next question is from LDK Plus Max. They've been making videos for 6 months. The channel is a gaming channel to supplement projects like animation and history. And the goal of the channel is to teach and have fun and eventually get money to donate to fix my mic. And the question is, how do you get more retention in your videos? Excellent question. Either one of you guys want to take this one?
Go ahead. I mean,
audience retention is probably one of the key things that's going to help you grow your channel. So to get more retention in your videos, you need to do a few different things. Like you need to keep people excited and like wanting to watch. So there's a term I've heard, it's called pattern disruption, where like, every few seconds or every, so much time, you change it up. And you see this in someone like Casey Neistat. He's always like reaching out and zooming in the lens or zooming out. These are little things that creators do to keep you engaged. So like basically re-engaging you to keep watching. And I've been using this a lot in my videos as a strategy. If you watch like my recent one, I just did a color grading tutorial. And like I jump around to different cameras and I put on graphics on the screen. Basically, I'm creating all of these disruptions so that, in the course of a 10-minute video, you're never sitting there with me for any long period of time. So you can come up with different ways in your videos to keep people engaged by, just changing things up a bit. And it doesn't have to be like a huge change, but just enough where it keeps someone like, oh, I'm going to keep watching. Oh, I'm going to keep watching. That's one tactic.
Yeah, and if you want to explore that idea, you can look for like pattern disrupt, pattern interruption is another thing that's called. And you can also, just to expand on what Jevin's talking about, you can do that with graphics. You can do it with multiple cameras. You can do it by simply pushing in and pulling out on a video, cropping in and cropping out. One way that you'll see me do it on mine is to where, like for my standing stuff, is where like I literally just jump all over the screen. So like every so many words, I will jump to a new position in the screen for the sake of, one, being able to start the sentence fresh so that I can grab your attention when I'm doing that or keep you engaged. And then I jump into a new spot as well, because I want your brain to be like, whoa, wait a minute. What, like, oh, now he's over here. Now he's over here. Now he's over here. Right. So I'm trying to just interrupt that moment to where you might be like, oh, okay, I'm getting kind of bored with this. And by jumping around, I'm just trying to keep you engaged by doing that. But people will do this also with just like video graphics, just little things like transitions, or like Jevin was saying, like how Casey will like, reach up and zoom in the lens and things like that. Other things that you can do in that situation is I actually watched a video with Daryl Eves and Owen Hemsath, or Owen Video, recently on Owen's channel, and one of the things that he mentioned in there that I never really thought of it as a pattern interrupt was that basically Owen will do kind of like a high five, like how I do my high five fist bump thing. He'll do that with like a high five, and that's also like a pattern interrupt thing that he does as well, because it takes that scene that if you just break that concept down, it takes the scene of what it is that you're watching at that point in time, and then it makes something not look like that scene anymore, and then it goes back to and then it goes back to the normal scene or whatever it happens to be.
One of the things that I've done a bunch of things with pattern interrupts, and it can be so fun. And one of the things I mentioned earlier was being creative and unique and different. And a lot of times you'll see people like they point, and okay, and my finger's in the frame now, they'll point and then text will appear. Well, I made a video on audience retention, and one of the things I did is I wore a garden glove. So I wear a garden glove, and people are like, what is with this guy? And literally the amount of people commenting, like, what's with the glove? What's with the glove? What's with the glove? So then I did it again, and I took all the comments, and I'm like, well, this is one of the ways to create a pattern interrupt, because it's really a pattern interrupt. The most important part is it's unexpected. It's something happens that the audience isn't expecting. I want to expand on that a little bit. I literally just released a video on this, and it was insanely powerful. The thing I taught, which was audience retention, which is going to get you more clicks and more views and actually more watch time, is to take out all the crap that no one cares about. So start off your video. Do not have a channel intro. Nobody cares about your stupid channel intro. And I'm pulling that line from Casey Neistat. And what he said was, nobody cares about your stupid drone shots and your stupid, what's the other one, like time lapse. It's kind of the same thing with the channel intro. And when you tell people to subscribe, especially in our niche, it's YouTubers, they know to subscribe. So basically I made a video, and first you want to structure it. You want to have some bullet points that keep you on track. And when you film, it doesn't matter if you're a gamer or whatever you're doing, you can really follow the bullet points and do a few multiple takes. And your job is to really cover the bullet point in the most clear, concise manner, and with the most charisma, to be able to deliver. Another way to really create engagement and retention is to leverage the power of your voice. Like I can say, listen. And when I do that, I can guarantee you people like, oh shit, this must be serious, So what I did is I literally published a 5-minute video, and people got to the end of the video and clicked on another video. In fact, 18% of thousands and thousands of people got all the way to the end of the video, which means you're really creating that audience engagement. You've got great retention. You're getting another view. And people are like, well, if I create a shorter video, I'll have less watch time. Not if they watch another video and another video. So there's a lot of ways to handle it.
Yeah, and when it comes to watch time, you also have to think watch percentage. I mean, that comes into play too, and a lot of people aren't talking about that. People look at watch time, audience retention, but you got to look at average view percentage. And one of the things I'm testing, I'm working on a video right now. It's going to be like 2.5 minutes. So I'm going to play around with shorter video to try and get the audience percentage up and see how that affects on my channel. Because I know that when I get those higher percentages, that video gets suggested more. So I'm really going to push a video that's really like super pattern interrupt, super just like you're going to be sucked into this video. The goal is to get people to be at that 80-90% of that video. And I've done it once before on an older video. It was like a 2.5-minute video, and my percentage was way up there in the 70s. I want to try to get up to the 90s and see what happens with that video.
Another thing too that I want to recommend is like when you are, because everybody's talking about like your retention. That was your question, your audience retention, and how Jevin was like, okay, I want to try to get it to a higher percentage. So you might be thinking, okay, how do I try to get it to a higher percentage? Well, I guarantee you that Jevin has went through his stats and he's looked at his videos and he's looked to see how people respond to different things that he does in his videos. So his trying to get higher retention basically means, and correct me if I'm wrong on the perspective here, Jevin, from what you meant, but basically what he means in that situation is go into your stats, look and see how people are responding to the content that you're putting out, because that is going to leave you clues on the things that the audience YouTube is showing your content to, the things that they respond to versus the things that they don't. So one thing that you might find is let's say that you're only talking head videos like us. You might find that, hey, if I'm on screen for X amount of time, people get bored and they start leaving. If I'm off screen for a certain amount of time, people get bored and they start leaving. If I talk faster versus slower, or if I mix it up, people respond differently. If I add graphics every so often, if I change the actual crop or the angle of my camera, whatever it happens to be, every so often, then people will stick around typically longer in those situations. So like really go in and start digging in, take notes, get a notepad or open up something on your computer and start taking notes on all of the little things that you find that people respond to or don't respond to in your content. And what you're going to notice is over time, as you make more and more content, you're going to notice, interesting. This video, this video, this video, and this video, when I did this particular thing, this little cut in that I thought was hilarious, it just made people leave. I thought it was great, but the audience, they didn't care for it. So because of that, let me take that out. Okay, now between these videos, this video, and this video, when when I kept graphics on the screen for this whole time and nothing was really moving and everything got kind of stagnant, people left during that time. So that tells me that, hey, if I'm gonna put stuff up on the screen, let me keep it moving. Or you might find the other way, to where, hey, if I'm moving stuff around too fast, people can't keep up, they're out of there, right? But basically what you do is you take those notes, and then over time, you're gonna start noticing patterns on how people are responding to all of the different things that you're doing on your YouTube channel. The things that they respond to, you do more of. The things that they don't respond to, you do less of. And that's how you get more audience retention.
Yeah, I mean, you got definitely have.
Go ahead, Devin.
I was going to say, yeah, you really need to make data-driven decisions, and you need to understand your baselines before you start making changes. So if you go and start changing everything in your video, you're not going to know what effect that has on the content. So I have a standard that I've created my videos the last, huge batch. And recently I've been playing around with my niche because I've noticed that people respond better if I do put some sort of B-roll at the beginning of my videos. In the filmmaking kind of space, there is more of this. It draws people in for some reason versus me coming on camera and saying, hey guys, in this video, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. If I let that breathe and give like 20 seconds of like cinematic looking B-roll, I've noticed I have a higher retention. So I've been kind of playing with that one element in recent videos, not touching anything else, and just seeing how I can get that hook to change to get a higher audience retention. But you have to have a group of videos and you have to have a baseline to see, this is what I typically get. And you need to do the same thing over and over and over and over. And then you'll see this baseline. And I use Google Sheets. I have like just data sets of all the different things in my videos, duration, hooks, where everything is, and seeing, okay, this is where my baseline is. Let's try and get this higher. And you do the same thing with titles, thumbnails, everything.
I'm so glad I deferred to you, Jevin, because basically my response was going to be really measure the first minute to 2 minutes.
Really quick, Brian, I just want to say to Baking with Charlene, she's saying that this is getting really overwhelming. So what I want you to do, Baking with Charlene, is just take down notes on everything it is that we're saying, so that you can come back to this information later. Because basically we're going to be on here. At least I'm going to be on here for the next 3 hours, right? So because of that, there's going to be tons of great information that's going to be coming out, and it can be overwhelming, especially if you're just getting started. So because of that, just start taking notes. And the same exact thing is going to happen there, to where you're going to be able to come back to it, and you're going to be able to notice things like, oh, this is what they meant when they said this, as you start putting out more content and paying attention to what's happening with your channel. Sorry to interrupt, Brian. Go ahead.
Well, now that you've said that, I just don't know. I'll say it anyway. I think it's important for those people that have been around for a while. But let me address that person that feels overwhelmed. If you feel that, it's totally normal, but just know that as long as you continue to make videos and you strive to improve, you will get there and it will happen. Most people don't. It's just that simple. Most people give up after 30 or 50 videos. Most people have expectations that are out of whack. And when you come back in a year, you'll be like, this is really cool about audience retention. I never thought about that. Because you will kind of acclimate yourself to these things. You can't know it all. This is all we've done for years and years. I've been interested in audience development for 20 years. Google search, list building, writing books about, all of these kind of things. And now YouTube hardcore for about 4 years now. And you will get there. So back to the comment about audience retention. And it's interesting. I did a video on audience retention, and I basically talked about 3 metrics. You want to focus on 3 things. First, keep the audience retention as high as possible for as long as possible. And basically that's like 1 to 2 minutes. And I think that's probably the most important thing. And I say that because Evan Carmichael, our pal Evan, just mentioned the same thing. It's such a great measurement because you think of the amount of people that drop off your video. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, what the heck is audience retention? It's simply a measurement of the percentage of the audience that drop off your video and when. So if you've got a 5-minute video, you'll actually notice that you probably lose 25% of the audience around a minute or even earlier. If you're getting started, it's not uncommon to lose a lot of people within 20 seconds. Once you understand that, you can come back and you can say, how can I improve the intro of my video, which Jevin just talked about? And he's doing that by creating things that are a little bit more different, that I mentioned earlier, more unique. He's really showing and he's talking about, he's basically taking one core element and really expanding on it and like opening people's minds to it, which is definitely too deep. So I'll back off now.
But all of that in a nutshell is in YouTube, you can go into your audience retention reports inside of your analytics. So I'm going to share a screen here really quick. Let me pop this open.
You can do that, Nick, on StreamYard?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So basically what you do is you go into your, here, there we go.
Oh, nice.
So what you do is you go into your analytics, and then at the video level, you can click into your audience retention reports. And then when you click in your audience retention reports, it's going to show you a little graph like this that lets you know how people are responding to what it is that you're doing. And what you want to do is you want to look for things like this as an example. I'm guessing this is probably my intro. Let me actually click on this and see what I did here. Yep. So this is my intro right here, which is why I'm fading it out. See that? You can see people left right there. And I know they left and didn't skip because if they would have skipped, it would have been a dip and then it would have came back up right there. Okay. So basically you want to look at your audience retention and you want to just pay really close attention to how people are responding to different things that are happening in your videos. And you want to look for peaks and you want to look for valleys. And as a guide, YouTube puts a little thing over here on the side, a little question mark. If you click on that, they actually tell you here what all of the different things mean that can happen inside of your audience retention. So when you see them, you know exactly, how you can, how to interpret the information that you're seeing, because us talking about it is one thing, but when you're actually looking at it, if you use that little guide, you can say, oh, okay, well, this is what means. If I see this, then that means that people are responding this way. If I see this, it means people are responding to this way. But what you want to think of is you want to think of this right here. Right? You want to make sure that you're able to keep people, or you're able to grab their attention as fast as possible up here. Typically, my intro doesn't take a really big hit. Even here, it's a relatively small hit, but 5% scaled over my entire content library, that's a pretty big hit, right? If you scale it out that way. As at one video, not that big of a deal. And little things like this, and when you see things like this, even though I kind of use my intro as kind of like a carrot to dangle, so to speak, because I know a lot of new YouTubers, they think intros are cool. They think it's something you should use. But I think that since you guys come to me for this type of information, I think I'm actually doing a disservice by having the intro. So if you watch my content, you'll see I'm slowly fading my intro out because I'm trying to break people being used to it. But basically, when you are in your retention, you want to look at things like this. And you also want to look at your relative audience retention as well. And this will show you how your video performs compared to other videos of similar length on the platform. And what this tells you is, like in this situation right here, it's like, hey, this is like above average for, the typical videos on the platform, which tells me that people are interpreting this as content that's worth watching. And if this graph tells me this, then that means that YouTube systems are noticing that, hey, this content is worth watching. So because of that, we'll continue to show it to people until people stop watching. So, when you're, go ahead.
I was going to say, have you ever taken your graph and then chopped off, say, your intro and see how it performs if you have like a massive dip?
Oh, you mean like post, like basically go into it and just cut it out in the YouTube editor? You know what? I haven't. No. My hooks are usually pretty strong. Like at the beginning of the video, I'm usually okay there. But I mean, I have plenty of videos to where I have dips that are big enough to where I could probably go in and cut those out for that reason. But I've never done that. No.
Yeah, I've been wondering that myself. I had a video recently that tanked the first like minute and a half, and I actually chopped it off. And I'm waiting for some more data to come in to really see how that has an effect, because people stayed once they got to the part where I started talking about stuff. They stayed through the end. So I was like, okay, I just need to chop off this intro. I haven't really heard of anybody doing that, so I'm playing around with that. I was wondering if you guys have had experience with it.
Yeah, I haven't. I would love feedback. Like once you get some data on that, I would love for you to share if you'd be open to that. Roberto Blake in the house. What's up, dude? Nice to see you hanging out here in the chat. Hope you are doing awesome. So the next question that we have on the list to move us forward here is let's see here. I did Hoosier Daddy already. Great channel name, by the way. Hoosier Daddy. Right? Love it. Absolutely. Just love it.
You like that one, Nick?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Like I was like, oh god, that's so as soon as I said
it's clever.
my ears were like, oh yeah, I see what you did. Yeah, it was really good.
No, it's super clever.
Next up is from Stitch Plays. They do gaming content. The goal is to improve people's day and bring them their favorite games content. The question is, hey Nick, I implemented your tips for increasing watch time and it hasn't worked. Do you know how I can further improve my videos to get more watch time? Rewind this live stream and listen to everything that we just talked about, and that will help you. That'll help you do it. Okay, next up on the list is from David, aka Dapper Dop, and they do tech content. And the goal of the channel is to transition into filmmaking. And the question is, how could you successfully transition into a different niche? It's a great question. Anybody want to take this?
I'll raise my hand again.
Jevin's got it. He's done this. Yeah, Jevin's done this successfully.
Yeah, if you look back in my library, my first like 150, 200 videos are travel vlogs. So like I've completely transitioned from a travel vlog channel to, filmmaking and kind of YouTube stuff. And, it's one of those things. I think when you make that transition, you're going to have a massive drop off. So you're going to alienate some of your audience, and it's just part of it. And what I did is I kind of filtered in some videos, and then I just made a full transition and started just making less of the travel stuff. And I think it's just one of those things, you just make the transition. And the sooner you do it, the sooner that you're going to start building this new audience. You're going to see a dip, and it's going to like be painful at first, because you're going to be like, oh, nobody's watching my content. But you just have to find a new audience, and that's kind of part of it. Some of your people transition, but I have a buddy who had a gaming channel, and he had 1.7 million followers, and then he tried to switch over to do like a filmmaking channel, and he just tanked his channel. And that was like a huge transition that he ended up flipping back, and that was a whole mess. And I was just like, you're gonna do it, you got to make that transition, just stick with it and really own it. So like, just for me, it's like, find something that's big in the space that you want to get into. So if you're getting into the filmmaking, look for other content creators and what's working right now for those creators, and start making videos around that, so you can start developing that audience. And like I said, some of the people will transition over, but you will see a dip.
I think it's really important to understand where your channel's at in the spectrum of things. Jevin, how many subscribers did you have when you were doing like the travel stuff?
I think I had it up to about 5,000. So it was a relatively small channel to where it is. And when I made the switch is when I took off. So,
and to consider is, if you're watching and you're getting started, 5,000 subscribers sounds like a lot, and it absolutely is. But in the longevity of a YouTube creator, like people that do this for 5-10 years, like that's very early in the game. And I think it's really easy to make big pivotal changes in your channel and how you create content when you really haven't reached the level of success you want. If you've got a lot of success, there's obviously a lot more risk involved. I just had like a channel consult the other day with someone, and it's like they're really stuck on creating content in a manner that's easy for them, but they don't like the results. And I'm like, look at all the holes that you have in your content strategy, and you're worried about changing, but like, what are you going to lose? You have nothing to lose. Like, if it doesn't work, go back to what you've done. But if you've got a channel and you're driving tens of thousands of views within hours of release, then it's a scary thing. I really don't think there's a lot to lose the smaller you are, and that's the thing to bank on. And just know that you can always come back and you can try something else.
And I think that the thing Roberto mentioned here in the chat, he says that I think the issue is also crossover. Just flipping cold into something unrelated, in my opinion, isn't worth it. Just start a new channel. I like that idea also. like in Jevin's situation, you know, like with him doing travel vlogs, those people aren't necessarily into like filmmaking. So yeah, I guess yours was a completely different direction too. But like if you can find like a little pivot versus like a full blown, you know, game changing, not even closely related to the audience direction, then, you know, it might be worth considering, you know, starting that on a new channel, or just, you know, give it a shot, you know, see how it goes. And like, you know, with Jevin's friend that does the gaming channel, you know, then you can just go back to, you know, the stuff that works if it ends up not working out for you.
Yeah, and that's what he ended up doing. He flipped back to gaming, and now he has 2 channels. So like, because of the big audience, he found that it just tanked his channel. It didn't work out properly. Whereas I think the reason that my transition worked from travel to filmmaking is I started with drones, which kind of crosses the line. So like I did a bunch of drone videos, which a lot of travel people were interested in. And that was my pivot moment. And then I went full into the filmmaking. And then even like down the road, I switched to started doing more YouTube stuff, which I didn't start that out of the gate. Like I started doing that after I had a pretty big channel and started filtering in more of that. So like you can add in things and pivot and see how your audience responds.
All right. Next question on the list is from Nels FIFA Mobile. They do gaming. The goal is to entertain. Says, can you grow a YouTube channel and trying to make the same videos as bigger YouTube channels? So basically, topically, if you're attacking the same thing that bigger channels are going after, can you still grow a channel that way? In my opinion, absolutely, without question. But you have to make sure that you can compete. So just because you're making videos on the same topic doesn't mean that the door is going to open for you. You have to be able to compete. And what I mean by that is the channels that you're going against in, you know, like the bigger channels, they're bigger because they have an audience in place. YouTube knows who to show their content to. They're good at getting people to respond to what it is that they're doing. And because of that, you have to come, like you have to bring in your game face, and you have to be willing to compete, because you can get more views than bigger channels, but it might take you a longer period of time to actually generate that thing that will make that happen, in terms of enough data just happening on the video and YouTube identifying, hey, people dig this. But just because, like, let's say that you made a video on, like, you know, how to do something in Minecraft as an example, and there's another, you know, big channel that did something on how to do something in Minecraft. In reality, if people respond to your content as good as they respond to the other channels that are also making that type of content, then YouTube is going to identify it pretty quickly. Hey, people are digging this video. And when they start showing it to more people, as long as they keep responding to it, then they're going to keep showing it to more people, which then makes you able to compete. That's a beautiful thing about YouTube, is without question, you know, bigger channels that have active audiences, they have an advantage right out of the gate. However, they also, one of those advantages is just skill sets. But however, like as a new channel, you also have the ability to compete against big channels. And that's a beautiful thing about YouTube. Like there's people that start YouTube channels with one video, and that one video will get 500,000 or 100,000 or 1 million views on that one video. It's rare, but it happens. But those people, like when they came in, for whatever reason, people dug what it is that they're doing, and then that allowed them to be able to immediately compete with bigger channels. So the same exact thing goes for any type of content. If you can get people to respond to what it is that you're doing, then you're immediately able to compete. Whereas if you can't get people to click, you can't get people to watch your videos for any amount of time, people aren't sharing your content, people aren't engaging with what it is that you're doing, they're not coming back to your videos, they're not coming back to your channel, then you've got some groundwork that you have to do in order to get yourself to the level to where you can compete with some of those channels that do that with every single video that they put out. Anybody have anything to add to that?
Yeah, totally. One of the things to consider is that when Nick keeps referring to, like, the audience responds. See, the thing is when you look at success based on topics alone, topics are really important. And when you select a topic that's already proven to perform, great. But if it stops there, you're doing yourself and the audience a disservice. And quite frankly, you will probably struggle and lose, because you're not looking at what matters the most, which is basically value. Like, you have to understand that, there it is right there, value. You've got to say to yourself, okay, so how do I keep viewers watching? Like, how do I get them to the end of the video? It's not just getting a good thumbnail and a compelling title. Like, they have to experience the video in a manner that really compels them, that they enjoy it. And that there's one word that really separates the winners from the losers, and it's art. If you look at really great YouTube creators, they're artists. They create videos that don't just stand up to, like, this is helpful, but it's done in an artistic way. but you might be thinking, but I do videos that are based on how to. It's like, well, you know what? Any monkey can turn on a camera and talk about how to grow a tomato. But the YouTuber that has 500,000 viewers or subscribers does it in a manner that's artistic. They might, and you might say, but their footage sucks. And I might like say there's always a reason why they are winning the game. They might be winning because of their delivery, they're likable, and they communicate in a manner that is easy to watch. And people will sit through, okay video footage. You might be like, but it's 4K. Nobody cares. They don't care about 4K. They care about videos that cross over and transition from a video to a piece of art. And that's the whole entire game. And when you say, like, I'm going to teach myself to create videos that fall in the 1% category, and I'm really striving to create something that matters, that's a little bit better, and I am focused on improving all the things, then you can absolutely compete. And that's what I think Nick is talking about when he says, the audience is responding. You have to, and then Jevin says, you've got to know yourself. What is it about your channel and your abilities that will give you an advantage that nobody can copy? Nobody can create a Nick video or a Jevin video or a Brian video or a Daniel Batal video or a Casey Neistat. In fact, people get upset. Stop trying to be like Casey Neistat. Like he freaking, and I didn't say it, I said freaking, he invented time
Keep an eye
lapses.
on you, Mr. Johnson.
You can't even add a time lapse in a vlog without getting called have you ever been called a Casey Neistat clone, Jevin?
Yeah. I think everyone has at some point that does vlogging and has some filmmaking twist to it.
And, he is really an artist, and it goes so much beyond the time lapse. It's the whole package. Anyway.
There's so much more to it. Yeah. It's way more than just, like putting time lapses and the types of fonts he uses and everything. It's more of his delivery. It's actually his storytelling.
Storytelling, 100%.
Like people don't talk about that as much as like the things he does in his videos. It's actually the way he structures his video. And if you structure your video like a Casey vlog, then yeah, your stuff is going to stand out.
And with him, like he has like a filming, like he has like him and his brother sold a show to HBO. Like the dude knows how to put videos together, right?
Yeah.
So basically, like all of that knowledge that made that possible, he's able to apply to his YouTube content, which then in turn makes his content just super enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
Next question that we have is from Outrage. Outrage says, does live streaming help grow for putting content out if you don't have content recorded / edited? And they do gaming videos, more or less role playing on GTA and Survival on Mist. So when it comes to live streaming, and I gave this example last week also, but when it comes to live streaming, you can take different approaches to it. The approach that I take here on my channel, and I'm going to use two references that a lot of you probably watch. One is my channel, but basically the one on my channel, as you can tell right now, it's Hangout, very free form. The entire thing is morphing by every question that we answer out of this form here, right? So basically you're kind of controlling this live stream and the direction that it goes through the questions that you ask. Now on the flips, or because of that, the information in this live stream is awesome. However, for the replay, it's not something to where people would be like, oh, okay, let me click on this and then watch it for a long period of time if they're not familiar with these like out of the gate. If they've never heard of me or Brian or Jevin, if they clicked on this video, it's not something that they might stick around to because it takes me through like a whole intro thing on the replay to where I'm just kind of talking about what's going on, welcoming people in the chat and things like that. So the replay isn't really there. So if you're doing it for the sake of like a hangout and that sort of thing, then in that situation, this approach would be good. Now, another example of this based on the same type of content is if you look at the Video Influencers YouTube channel. Now their live streams, they structure their live streams like it's a video. So because of that, the replay value right out of the gate is massive on the live streams that they do, because not only do they try to structure it more like a video, they have some hangout stuff in there too, but it's mostly structured around the video and a single topic. So because of that, if you watch one of their live streams, you'll typically get tons of information about one specific topic versus information spread across a bunch of topics over the course of several hours. Theirs is more packaged, or it's packaged in a better way for the replay. So if you're doing live streams for the sake of putting out content, then I recommend that you do it in that kind of way, to where you're making a video, but you're making it live, just like if you watch live TV as an example. If you are doing it for the sake of a hangout in the community side of things, then in that situation, you might want to go with the thing like we're doing here, where you're doing like a hangout and that sort of thing, for the sake of the community aspect of what it is that you're doing. Any,
Yeah, I was going to
additions?
jump in. I actually did a video influencers live stream recently, and just the way that they like structured the whole interaction was pretty cool, because you know, they have their targeted section that they're like, okay, this is what this video is about. We have this series of questions that we're going to ask you, and we had a conversation beforehand where we really talked about these topics before we got on the live stream. And they said, okay, the first, you know, whatever, it was like 15-20 minutes, we're going to talk, we're just going to chat, but we're planning to cut this off and start right at this intro mark. And then they had an intro replay and all this. So they've structured it where they know where they're going to cut off the video for the replay. They're going to have it go this long, and then they're going to cut off the Q&A. And the Q&A was like this. We were hanging out, we're just having conversations with people that were in the chat. They cut off the front and the back, and it was now a super clean video. And I was like, that's super smart for live streaming, because like you have now this replay that feels like a YouTube video, but it's one of these live streams. And then they're also planning to cut it up and make even a more targeted video with the content that we came out with.
Yeah,
you know,
super. Like how they're doing that, how they're putting that whole thing together. It's fantastic, and that's a great example in terms of the, you know, different ways that you can do it. What were you gonna say, Brian?
Yeah, one thing to consider though is, like, I know we have a lot of new people in here, and you can hear that and you can think, okay, live stream, interact, hang out, then cover a topic. And quite frankly, if you're brand new, the likelihood of making that work is not great. And I've seen this happen with so many people, where it's like, oh, making video hard, pressing go on a live stream easy. What if I cover the same topics and I do it fast, I don't have to edit? And it's like, it's kind of a bummer to watch, because the people make decisions based on easy, but they also want results. And you have to ask yourself, at what point is it not so easy if you're getting zero resulls? Like if you keep going live and you're like on a hamster wheel, I'm like, this is easy. And you're like, whoa, can you guys feel it right now? This is hard. I'm getting tired.
And on that note too, like Jevin was saying, how they structure the things on their live stream. Like if you just watched it, you might think like, oh, this would be an easy way to make content, but it's not. Like they go through the process of planning everything out before you actually go on the show. They have like an entire intro sequence that they go on your YouTube channel. They watch and download a bunch of videos. They put together like this sequence when they're talking about your channel, to where it gives people a highlight of the content that you make. They take like thumbnails from your channel so they can show people examples of those. And they do all of this groundwork on the front end to create an awesome piece of content on the back end. So, you know, like when like you're saying, Brian, when it comes to like hitting that easy button and using live for that easy button, you know, if you really want it to work out in an awesome way for you, then that easy button suddenly becomes more difficult. Instead of just hitting the button and going live, then you have all this prep that you have to do and things like that. And if you're doing, you know, a similar type of thing that they're doing.
One thing to think about is, if you
chosen kid, thank you.
If you want success and you're thinking about live and you're looking at other channels, the thing to do is just model that success. Find 5 channels that have the results that you want, and then look at what they're doing. And it's like, if nobody is making videos in a live kind of way, or don't get confused if they mix in one live. Like Nick is a great example of this. Nick grew his channel based on videos that were very specific in nature, covering a topic that the audience wants. So it's not just the topic, it's how the videos are created. And he also goes live. And if you look at it and go, oh, look, he goes live, I can go live and cover the topics and grow. It's like, well, hold on. No, that's not what happened. So it's really important to really model success and try to understand how other people have done it before you. And when you do that, you will basically shortcut the path that can be long when it comes to YouTube growth. And even when you get, like, you've got a good plan, it still can take a while. Like it took me like Jevin, it took me probably 250, 300 videos before I went from, okay, barely passable, like I'm getting a C+ if it was a grade in school, to going to the B level. Like, it took a lot of work and effort and energy. So don't think it's not working when you don't see results right out of the gate. You just got to keep stepping up to the plate and swinging at that ball. I'm sure.
Yeah.
New
I
home,
mean-
know it all. Oh, go ahead, Devin.
I was just gonna say, and like I hear this from a lot of people. They're like, "Well, this person grew in 10 videos, and they have a massive channel." And it's like, well, there's definitely like unicorns in the batch that like take off, and like like Peter McKinnon's one of them. He came out with an awesome video. He did a bunch of videos before it, but he came out with one that really skyrocketed his channel. He talks about this when you hear him speak, but like, not everyone has the same trajectory. Like, you look at me and Brian, we made a lot of videos before we started seeing attention to our channels. And I think it was it Roberta that came out with, or no, it was TubeBuddy that came out with that metric of how many videos per like hundreds of thousands of subscribers.
Yeah.
I don't have it on hand, but it was like, to have 1 million subscribers, the average video count was like 3,000 videos on a channel.
Yeah, I've got a whole video about that on my channel and how many videos it takes. That was actually the retention, the one that I was just showing you on my channel. It was actually that video specifically.
And also,
but real quick, I want to answer one more question here, and then we have another guest coming in to join us. So the question here is from New Home Know It All, and they say it's a real estate niche, and they say better how to on getting more views. Why is it so hard to promote? Is the general audience just not viewing real estate on YouTube? So it's a great question. Either you guys want to take this?
I think at the end of the day is that it's based on a skill set once again. And like, I want to kind of tie what we were just talking about with Peter McKinnon to like, is there no audience, or why is it so hard for some and whatnot? And the thing that Peter McKinnon has that 999 YouTubers don't, and then Peter has it, is crazy charisma and an ability to clearly communicate in a highly engaging manner. And then on top of it, he's got this skill set when it comes to filmography. What the hell is filmography?
Videography.
No, I like filmography. That's I'm going to go with that. But he's got those skills, and it's the same exact thing in every single niche, no matter what. So if you're doing real estate, you have to practice delivering really clear. You have to practice understanding, and this is a skill in itself that takes some time. You have to understand the core motivations of the audience you want to serve, and you can't really serve them at a high level until you know what really matters to them. And if you've been in real estate a long time, you're already going to know, but the more deeper you go into YouTube, the more nuances you can add to it. And then all of a sudden you cover and literally this is what happens. You cover the same keywords, you make similar thumbnails, and one video gets 1,000 views and another video gets 250,000 views. So what's the difference? It's the skills and abilities that we often overlook when we're just getting started. And that's the stuff to really pay attention to.
And one of those things, I really recommend New Home Know It All that you go through the YouTube Creator Academy, and you specifically look in the area on discovery, because I'm looking at your channel right now, and basically your titles are things like New Home Know It All Primos Plan, New Home Know It All The Grace 2 Plan, New Home Know It All Amistad Plan by Lennar. So basically what you're relying on in this situation is people knowing you and people looking for you. So because of that, you need to adjust how you're thinking about getting your content in front of people. So what I would recommend is if you're targeting like local real estate, and this might sound a little bit weird if you're just trying to show people houses, but what I would recommend in your specific case is, instead of looking at your YouTube channel like, okay, I'm just using this solely as a showcase for the houses that I'm selling, which is fine, but if you're looking for growth, you have to think of, how can I use my YouTube channel in a way to where people are going to want to keep coming back to my YouTube channel so that I can show them some of these homes. And one of the things that you can do in that situation is, if you have like a certain area that you cover for selling houses, instead of looking at it like, I'm just going to use my YouTube channel to host these like house walkthroughs that I'm doing, instead of looking at it in like that, where you're putting up like a 50-second video of a house, think of it in terms of, okay, how can I actually become like kind of like a known person in my area for selling real estate? How can I get myself in front of as many people as possible to let them know that I'm selling houses, right? So And I'm not saying this is the right thing for you, but I'm just saying in terms of different ways that you can approach what it is that you're doing. So what you can do in that situation is you can say, okay, well, let me become like a person about town, to where I'm going and I'm highlighting all the events that are happening like specifically around me. I'm optimizing those specific videos for search. So when people are looking for information on those events, then I pop up there and then I introduce myself as the real estate agent that's also showing them about this stuff. So then what that does is that gives you an opportunity locally to dominate your local search and constantly be showing up in people's search results when they're looking for things in your area. And then you just happen to also sell houses, and this is where they can contact you about that. Or this is a playlist that you have hosted on another channel, but you still put it on your channel page that actually shows people the houses that you're doing and or the houses that you're selling and things like that as well. So you have to kind of adjust your strategy and think, okay, how can I get in front of people? And then once I'm in front of people, how can I let them know what it is that I do and what it is that I have on offer? And one of the things that you can do in that situation is just kind of rethinking, you know, the overall plan of how you're actually going to get discovered on the channel. So just a little food for thought there as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Roberto Blake, the Sith Lord of YouTube. Roberto, welcome to the live stream. Woo! Roberto!
Oh my God, he's
Roberto!
here. This is a lot of pressure. I feel nervous.
Good morning, YouTube.
Good
and
morning,
good morning to
Roberto.
everybody on the panel.
You're reporting from the ATL, right?
From Hotlanta.
Hotlanta in the house. So Miss Life Mastery says, tips to improve your storytelling. So Jevin, I'm going to toss this one on you if you don't mind, because Jevin, you know, he did like travel vlogs and things like that, which is part of, you know, that tons of storytelling goes into that. Plus he does filmmaking and all of that. So I think this one's like right up your alley.
Yeah. You know, everyone in the chat, put in there if you would want to see like a full in-depth video on storytelling. It's something I've been toying around with. I haven't put it on my channel yet, but I'll just kind of go over some highlights. When it comes to telling a story, you need to have like a reason why people are coming. There's like something that people are coming to your story for that you're going to reveal at the end of it. Now you need to say, so that's like your climax. That's your main kind of like point for the video. Now, at the beginning of your video, you want to have a hook. We've talked about this. This is just in general. That captures the audience into the video, but doesn't give away what the ending is. And then you need to set up what that ending is going to be at the beginning of your video, so people know what's going on in the video and what's coming towards the end. And then, you know, from the setup to the climax to the end, you basically have your whatever it is that you're doing throughout the video. And then the payoff is that one thing that you've. I know this is very like just kind of high level and like
it's hard to pinpoint
you know, there's not a whole lot of how do
a good example of this is if you've seen the movie Rango. So basically in Rango, when the movie first starts, he's like in like his aquarium or whatever. He's in the car. Everything's kind of shaking around, and he's walking around with his martini or whatever it happens to be. And he's like, you know what we need right now to really get this thing kicked off? Something along these lines. The actual words that he says might not be exact, but the idea is, you know, we really need to get this whole thing kicked off is we need like a dramatic event to like really overcome or something along those lines. And then the car starts squealing all over the place. His thing, you know, flies out the window, breaks. And then all of a sudden you have Rango in the situation where it's like, oh no, now I'm in this environment. I'm out in the free world. How do I survive through this? You know, like all of these things happen that basically kick off the actual story itself.
Yeah. It's just, you know, like a very basic story structure is the hero's journey. And that's, you know, you'll see this time and time again where the hero is up against there's a bunch of things between that person and getting to what it is they want to achieve. So in like the Odyssey, it's like getting home because he's shipwrecked way off on another island. And the story is, you know, I'm trying to get home. And so the whole story follows him on his journey home. And then eventually, yeah. So, you know, I've been looking in the chat. A lot of people are saying, yes, they want storytelling. I think I'm going to do more of a video breakdown where I'll really think this through and come up with a way to present all the elements that's very easy and structured. I just don't have that in front of me. And
let me take a stab at part of this because I really dig storytelling, and I focused kind of on documentary type storytelling in 2019. It was hard. And I put a lot of time into a few videos, but holy smokes, some of those videos that I released last year every day drive thousands of views. And one of the things, Jevin, that you talked about is exactly what I think is the most important part. And that is you have one focal point that's kind of a big deal, and you are alluding to what the heck it is. And it's not 5 tips. It's not the 5 best parts of an iPhone. It's one core element that people don't really know or understand. And the more you can tease that and really communicate in an artistic and a creative way, the more likely they're going to continue to watch. And then you take them through this arc of a story. In the beginning, what is it? So the video I'm talking about is tricks big YouTubers never share. Now, right there, it's like, what is the trick? And the trick was that all the successful YouTubers have it. And literally, I talked for 3 or 4 minutes, and I gave examples, and I started to break down what is charisma, which is another way to talk about delivery, which is another way to communicate. Charisma and storytelling all interconnected. And when you start with that one core idea that people would be interested in, and you focus around really communicating a message, one message around that thing, that to me is where story begins, and it pulls people in and it'll keep them watching. So you get a click because it's interesting, and then your job as a storyteller is to break down that concept in a way that's unique, interesting, and you take them through that arc of the story, the beginning, the middle, the end, and so on. So that's kind of my take. And
that's actually the name of what you want to look for. Look for like story arc. And if you look for that, then you'll see all kinds of graphs pop up all over the place that will kind of, illustrate the concepts that everybody's talking about. But if you just hop on like Google and you just look for story arc, and then you hop on images, then you'll see, all these graphs laid out on all the different ways that you can tell stories and keep people involved in what it is that you're doing by building up the drama and then, giving them that release of what it is that you want. And then, oh no, more drama. Like if you watch Breaking Bad, like one thing that I think is awesome that they do, is basically like everything's going along, and then it's like, oh, finally, like everything's fine. They're back at the table and they're having dinner, and then like the phone rings, and you just know it. He's going to pick up the phone, or he's not going to pick up the phone, and then a message is going to play that everybody's going to be able to hear, and then it's going to start that drama train all over again. It's just absolutely incredible.
Tension. The word you're looking for there is tension.
Yeah, tension. Yeah, it's incredible. Absolutely love it.
Something
I'm actually
I'll
on my
add-
second run through that right now.
Yeah, I'm watching it again for the 5th time. Nice. Something that I will add, and then we'll move on from this question, but I think is important is I've been analyzing the importance of revealing your own story in the way that you communicate to an audience, and also helping new viewers relate to you through your storytelling and seeding aspects of your origin story over a period of time. And also even looking at even my own YouTube career, I'm looking at what are stories I haven't told about myself? What is it people don't know about me? What is it context that is lost in the fact of people seeing where I am? Because the thing is, people could come in and see a channel that's larger, like everyone here is in the 100K club, right? And for them, that would represent that we're already at the pinnacle of our story arc. We've already become the Amazing Spider-Man. We've already become Batman. We've already, whatever it is, right? So in that regard, the thing is, it's important for people to understand our vision and the fact that our story arc has not actually been completed, and that there is another level for us to ascend to. There is a conflict that we are actually still active and participating in. And then that there is also an origin story that they may not know that they might need to contextualize in order to better relate to us. We relate to Peter Parker because he's a broke, struggling kid from Queens who lost his father figure. Batman Bruce Wayne is a beloved figure, but think about it. He's wealthy, he's rich. Why is it we relate to him? Because he's driven by anger, unresolved anger, inner conflict. There's no inner peace for him. There's no sunshine at the end of the road. All the money in the world can't bring his parents back. There's something that is unresolved in our own past. And that's the reason that the most unrelatable person in the world, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, Bruce Wayne, we relate to him because that's a mask. The truth is that he's Batman. The truth is that he's a scarred child lashing out at the world and looking for some type of reconciliation for his inner demons and his conflict. And that's what we relate to. We don't relate to Bruce Wayne nearly as much as his true identity, the Batman, that unresolved raw part of ourselves. And so I think as a content creator, you have to, one, find what level of vulnerability you're comfortable with your audience. to consider that even if you're entertaining or conveying information, you have to somewhat reveal or expose something about yourself that makes you a human being and not just a caricature, and that we can build some kind of emotional connection to, and that we can see ourselves reflected in, or that we also aspire to. We want to be able to be someone who is doing the things that you are doing. The courage to be on camera is one aspect of that that's very abundant and clear. I think it's why people related to the video that I made, similar to something you've talked about, Brian, like where I made that video, make 100 crappy videos, but I put like Mr. Beast and PewDiePie in there, because if I had just left it at make 100 crappy videos, I don't think as many people have clicked and watched at that. I think that me being able to reveal the origins of PewDiePie and Mr. Beast and Marquez Brownlee MKBHD, because he's another one I used in there. I just couldn't make the title any longer. I showed that these are people who've made over 1,000 videos. These are people whose first 100 videos, the first 10% of their overall effort is on the record and is not any better than anything you're doing now. If anything, it's worse. And when you see that humble beginning of somebody and see, but look at how far they've come, it's inspiring, because, well, their stuff isn't any better than what mine is. They are a superstar and a rock star now, but they started somewhere, and it was extraordinarily modest. It was extraordinarily humble. I had to reveal that they are Peter Parker, that goofy kid, you know, from Queens who had nothing, that there's a path to becoming the Amazing Spider-Man in this individual, and that why not also you? Maybe you're just at the beginning of your story, your hero's journey, and also then superimposes me into the role of Gandalf the Grey or Tony Stark or Uncle Ben.
Whoa.
And one thing I want to mention also is that that I also think like what Roberto started on in terms of, you know, letting people like have insight into who you are. I think that that's important, like to sprinkle in through your content. I think live streams are great for that. But, you know, letting the nuances of your personality come out so that people can realize that, not realize, but just so it's like, oh, okay, well, they are, you know, just like me, or they have the same problems that I have, or they deal with, you know, issues just like any other person does, whatever. Like just having that human side of what it is that you're doing is great. But in terms of the content itself, and I know that this might be an unpopular opinion, but I personally don't think that every type of content that you put out there has to tell a story within the content.
I agree.
In terms of being like, you know, I got to think of this story arc and all that stuff, and I'm just trying to show people how to, like, you know, how to make a coffee cup, right? So
Well, there's
because of that, I think
story
that,
and structure. There's a difference between
Right.
story and structure.
Well, and delivery
true.
too. It's
Yeah.
like, I think for me, I think that's a really good point. And I just wanted to share when Roberto was talking about this, because like a lot of the questions that we're getting are like, well, how do you improve your charisma? And how do you tell better stories? And what about your delivery? And it's like, talk good. Seriously. Like nobody in this live stream has used the word in forever.
you
we
just did
practice-
sort of in a roundabout kind of way. You said
You know
it.
what I mean, though? I think,
Yeah, I know, I'm
really,
kidding.
though, like knowing
yeah.
how to control your voice, understanding what the topic is, just right there will improve your storytelling in any video you make. And it's really easy not to pay attention to that. But just every time you make a video, speak clearly. And furthermore, learn to use your voice, because it's a powerful asset you have.
if you
And
want
the
to mine
language
for,
also, the language that you lean on when you're communicating in your videos is really important also. There's a great channel that I constantly recommend called Charisma on Command. Watch that YouTube channel. If you're trying to think of how you can communicate in a better way to where people can get more insight into you, or so that they can just be more attracted to how you communicate, look into Charisma on Command. Also, another thing that you might want to look into is actually processing your audio. And I know that this sounds like a minor nuance, but it really is important, because how you sound is also being interpreted subconsciously when people are watching your videos. And you want to make sure that you're coming across in a somewhat pleasant way. So because of that, I really recommend, I just said, you like that, Brian? So because of that, make sure that you, I lost, drinks on me next time, fellas.
lost the game,
But
Nick.
like,
You lost the game, Nick.
but basically, you know, you want to make sure that you are also learning to do things like that, so that you can just create a better experience for the people that are watching in how you communicate as well.
Simple charisma hacks: farm comfort and farm enthusiasm. First of all, I stopped dressing like wearing collared shirts. I stopped wearing collared shirts because when I was starting, I was doing tutorial content and creative career development stuff. And the thing was, I was trying to be business casual, I guess, kind of like whatever I would have wore to my 9 to 5 job, which was not uncomfortable, but it wasn't really me. I'm a ironic t-shirt, graphic t-shirt, hoodie type of guy. And when I started doing that, I love my caps. I have a hat collection. You know this about me, Nick. I change my hats every season. Except I think I'm sticking with the black leather. I think it's just very nice. I think I found my fit. But that's another thing,
good
though.
looking.
Yes, finding your fit. But also, it makes my thumbnails easier to cut out in Photoshop. That was the thing that nobody realized. That was really a big part of it, to be honest with you. Now, what a lot of people take for granted is that I even crafted my environment to energize me and to make me feel giddy and to make it easier. Even when I started with much less and a much modest setup, I still had things. I was like, I want to not hide my goofy, nerdy stuff, so I'm going to put like comic book character and anime stuff on my desktop background so that people understand that like this is who I am and I'm not hiding it. Like I'm a nerd. I'm like, I'm a grown-up goofy kid. I still watch Saturday morning cartoons, whatever. This is like kind of a neuroscience thing where you have to make yourself comfortable in your own skin if you want to be charismatic when you present. You have to start to farm self-acceptance if you want genuine charisma, but also you have to do something you care about and genuinely care about. And for me, it was I had to show people how enthusiastic I am about things because I'm going to be insecure because I don't believe that I don't believe that most people who teach things need to worry about being experts, because when I think back from here's a story I can tell. My father was not a professional photographer. He is a man who loved photography and used it to tap into the creative side of his brain that was denied him because he came from a poor country, he came from Panama. The idea that you're going to do anything creative for a living, not a chance. He went into the military. But through travel, he found an outlet in photography and they liked it. And he liked capturing these pieces of photo and sending us these custom postcards and sending us pictures. And he also instilled an enthusiasm for photography in me. The same thing with my uncles on my mother's side. And so I learned and developed the craft of photography, not because I looked at some wise expert photographer who made a living at it, but because of people who genuinely lived for their nights and weekends to snap a shutter. And that was meaningful. And that made me want to learn and grow, but also teach people what I'm excited about. And I don't have to claim expertise, only enthusiasm. And when you realize that you don't have to be the biggest Star Wars nerd, you don't have to know and be able to name all 151 original Pokemon, but that you can be just a very enthusiastic super fan of something and that is infectious, then that is powerful. PewDiePie was not a pro gamer, you guys. He's the most successful person in the genre of YouTube gaming without actually being nearly top tier. PewDiePie cannot win tournaments at anything in terms of gaming. He's just someone who's very enthusiastic and very approachable in that way, in terms of he can make you goofy, silly, excited about something that he's goofy, silly, excited about. And that's really all you need for charisma, is to have just the smallest scraps of courage to be able to hit record and to authentically start to communicate what it is that lets you get over the fear of rejection. And like, what are you so excited about that it's like, you know what, it's worth being rejected or ridiculed. Just own the fact that this is the best thing in the world to me.
And there's also the side of things, I'm sure you've heard of people finding their voice in different aspects of different things that people do. And with YouTube, it can be one of those things as well, to where when you first start out, you might be just a little bit stiff when you're making your videos, because in your mind, you're thinking, oh, it's got to be this certain way, and I got to make sure that I'm going in that certain videos. Way. Yeah, so it's like you start making content based on like how you think you should make it, and then over time, you start evolving into making content how you make it, or how you want to make it, or what's best for you, or what makes the most sense to you. And that's part of finding your voice, so to speak, when it comes to just really settling into YouTube, is you learn, hey, I went through all of this stuff and now I'm like the most comfortable version of me, right? I'm giving people the most comfortable version of me, the version of me that I want to put out there, the version of me that I want people to see, or the version of me that is, you know, the truest me, or whatever it happens to be. Like you kind of wear yourself down by going through all of the stuff of like, okay, well, I'm uncomfortable, and I sound so stupid when I do this particular thing or when I say this thing, or gosh, I can't believe my hair looked that way in this video, or oh my gosh, I made this video and I had like a stain on my shirt. I can't believe I did that. Eventually you get to a point to where you're just comfortable with everything that happens in a video. Sure, you're going to critique yourself still. And even if you see that stain, you're going to be like, oh, I can't believe I didn't see that. But you're not going to beat yourself up over it. And it's not going to be that big of a deal because you've made enough videos to realize that, everything's not 100% perfect all of the time. And just settling into that and getting comfortable with what it is that you're doing is a huge part of just being charismatic on video and being able to communicate in a way that people will connect to.
It's the biggest thing. I want to ask Jevin and you, Nick, what is one of the biggest insecurities you had to get over on camera?
Dude, I wore makeup when I first started. I thought, yeah, I wore makeup because one, I was like, oh, I'm too old, right? I'm too old to be going on YouTube. And I'm like, okay, well, I've got, like, if you look right here, it's fine, I'm highlighting them now. But then I was wearing makeup to where, under here, right? I'm a human being. So I've got, like some imperfections under my eyes. I've got a little bit of like, redness going on like around here, like that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, on the news, they put on like foundation and concealer and all that stuff to make them look good. So let me put on some makeup. It'll kind of bring my age down a little bit and it'll make sure that I don't show any imperfections because I'm going on video here. And so because of that, I for my first probably 10 videos or so, I went through this big ritual before I started making my videos to where I would put on, foundation and I would put on concealer and I would just go through that process before I made my videos. And then finally I was like, what, I'm just going to make a video and just put it out there and just kind of see what happens. And nobody even noticed. Right. So for me, that was like, okay, well, that means that I don't even have to do this anymore. So let me just kind of, keep doing videos without the makeup on them. And that for me was the very first thing to where I was like, I don't want to show people like the imperfect, the imperfections of my skin and, my age. So I'm going to cover up some of the stuff that, that symbolizes age so that, people, might take me as like a little bit younger.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just in the way of my delivery. So, like, when I first was making videos, I was really self-conscious about, like, my delivery for information or just, like, how I was on camera. And, like, just, like, having to redo things over and over and over until I got what I thought was right. And then I realized, like, you just have to be yourself on camera. And just, you're going to find your audience for there's going to be a group of people that like you the way you are. And if you're trying to be someone else and you're trying to put on this persona, you're trying to do something completely different, it's going to burn you in the long run. So like, for me, it was just like figuring out my delivery and then just understanding like, people do like the way that I deliver naturally. I mean, obviously you find your voice on camera, like you're not exactly just like yourself all the time. You do have to put on somewhat of a show to ramp up. But in general, you do have to be yourself.
It was the same thing for me, Jevin. It's like even now, I like my most critical thing about myself is I consider myself to be like somewhat boring or not. Like I don't have like the most interesting personality in the world. In my like, people beg to differ on that, and that's great. And I really appreciate the support. I just like but that's a comparison thing. It's the imposter syndrome of just it's like I'm like all of you can like definitely get subscribers because I'm like the most boring MFer in the world, and I'm like have this like I drone on and I ramble and I'm not like exciting, and I'm not sitting here doing like I'm sitting here teaching people like software and systems and money. I'm not like it's like oh yeah, it's like oh of course like X amount of the audience tunes in or whatever. Like I don't like, and sometimes I get in my head about it even now. It's that but the reality is, and what people have told me is that they don't always want over-the-top hype. They like that, hey, they like somebody who's just being real with them. They like the calmness. They like the candor. They do like when I do get animated and passionate about something because they can see that it's genuine because I'm not sitting here on hype level 12 all the time like some people. So when I get there, people appreciate it. Like there's
a good example of that is Curtis Judd. Super chill. I could watch him all day long. DSLR shooter.
Simon.
He's super chill.
He's so chill. Yeah, and it's great. Like it works great for him. So, it's just looking at yourself and not thinking, hey, I need to do this because this is what I think people might like about me. Do it in terms of like, okay, let me do me and see how people respond to that. And whatever that looks like, it's going to be uncomfortable, but it's important that you do it. Like you guys were saying before, those initial videos of, wearing, like my very first video with makeup on, I'm also wearing like a collared shirt and stuff like that, because I'm like, okay, well, I'm the videos that I'm watching, some of these people that are about my age are wearing like button ups and things like that. So I should probably do that too. And, all of that. And then eventually, like I think my last video, I've got like this hoodie on with like a red shirt, and the hoodie was just kind of like open, kind of like this, like it wasn't even, I should have gotten myself together a little bit more, but the whole thing, I was just kind of like a mess, and it's perfectly okay, because I'm a mess sometimes. Right. So, so it's okay to embrace, and let out those, what it is that you are.
I think people appreciate it.
Through my history of videos, like I didn't used to wear a hat, but I always wear a hat. And it's one of those things like, do I wear the hat or not wear the hat? And then I started, kind of evolving it over time, and then I was like, screw it, I'm just going to be myself. And what I do myself is I wear black shirts and a hat. I don't have a black shirt on now, but usually I just wear a black shirt and this hat.
Yeah.
So like that's what my videos end up being now.
One Step says, thanks for the help, my dudes. You're all great and very insightful. When you get a minute, I got a question in the forum. Take it one step at a time. So if we get to the question, then I can answer it. If we don't get to it, then you might want to just drop it in the chat. And if I see it there, hopefully a mod will bring attention to it, and then we can answer it there. So the next question that we have here is from Art Prof. And they do art tutorials, and the goal of the channel is to provide a free art education to aspiring artists and professionals. And the question is it better to have only one end screen, or should I use all three? Should I tell people at the end of my videos to watch a specific video that is in the end screen?
Yeah,
whatever the
without
data says.
question. Yeah, without question, try to get people to watch more of your content. You do not want to end your video before end screens are on the screen, because you do not want to let people know that the video is complete. So you don't want to say, I have a video coming out, it's literally my next video, I think, about how to end your videos. And the thing is you don't want to have your video end in a way to where people know that the video is finished before the video is actually finished. Because when people's brains start thinking, oh, I got what I came here for, you want them to have an option to watch more of your content immediately. So you do that by adding the end screen elements to your end screen. So yes, definitely recommend that they watch something, but I personally also recommend that you put a best for viewer on there. And the reason for that is because then that gives you the ability to recommend something specific to your audience that's relevant to the video that they're watching, so that you can try to get them to go over there. And then the best for viewer is basically YouTube's system saying, based on the other things that people watch, or the things they watch on your channel, or they haven't watched on your channel yet, let's show this particular video to them, because we think, the system thinks, that it would be that they would be more likely to watch that piece of content. What are your practices for end screens, guys?
I was going to jump in and say definitely two. I point to a video, I say like, you go watch this video next, so that there's never like an ending. You want to keep people kind of in your loop of watching videos. So you never say like, hey, this video's done, make sure you go over check this one out. It's like a straight like, all right, great, now you need to head over here for another video about X, Y, and Z. So like you want to keep people moving, and the best for viewers also a good tactic. So those are the two that I do as well. But one thing to think about, YouTube gives us 20 seconds at the end to add these end screens. You don't have to use those 20 seconds.
Right.
If somebody sees this and you're like, hey, go to this video, and they click off, well, there's maybe 15 seconds that someone's clicked off, and it's bringing your average view duration down, your percentage down. So like I've actually gotten the habit of not using the full 20 seconds anymore, and I'm using like maybe 10, because I want 10. To click the video and move away right away.
I use about 8.
Yeah.
I use about 8. I use 2 cards just like you did, Jevin. I use YouTube recommends, so that the data is there with the algorithm, and then whatever I want them to go to. But the video I want them to go to, I also try to mention it somewhere earlier in the video, so that I have multiple opportunities on that. So take advantage of the info cards and not just the end screens. Me and Sunny Larenduzzi subscribe to an idea of doing 3 call to actions in a video, a call to action in the beginning, the middle, and the end, and it may not be the same call to action, just because you may have a broad enough audience to where that it's not gonna, the first thing isn't gonna resonate with everybody, the second thing isn't gonna resonate with everybody, the third thing isn't gonna resonate with everybody. So the thing is, you want to you don't want to overwhelm people, but those offerings should be aligned and not necessarily conflict. But I also try to consider the fact that I know that I have an audience where I have beginners, intermediate, and advanced, and I try to make sure that everybody is served at some point and some point soon enough for them in my content, which is very hard to do. And sometimes I don't do that at all. Sometimes I make a content for one specific category of person, and that's that. And results may vary on that, but it all comes down to, I think, what you're making a priority. Because realistically, if you're making what is in the best interest of your audience a priority, regardless of how it performs, there are approaches that work for that. If your goal is that your priority is you want your content to perform and you still want the audience to have some value, which is okay. It's just a matter of what you put first. And there's not a right or wrong to this. We always want, like, I think the three of us agree that for the most part, we're focused on value over views. We're focused on this being valuable even to a segment of our audience, and it's okay if that's 1% of our audience, because we're okay with the fact that that's an underserved group. That group being smaller doesn't make them less important, doesn't make them less special, doesn't make them less deserving of content made for them. But that's not the position that I think every YouTuber is going to be in, and I don't expect that to be everyone's value system, and it's not a judgment if you're not. If what you need for where you are in your YouTube journey is views, take our advice with a grain of salt, because your priorities may vary, your mileage may vary, and sometimes.
But you still want to use your end screens properly.
Oh, yeah.
If you're going for
1000%.
views, you still want to use your end screens because that's an easy way to get more views. Plus, the deeper people go into your content. YouTube specifically says, if you go through the YouTube Creator Academy, for the people watching this, which everybody should go through it, they specifically say, it's either in the Creator Academy or they share this in their help pages, but it's basically where they say that if people go deeper into the platform from a particular video, that video is more likely to get surfaced elsewhere on the platform.
I agree,
so basically. Yeah, and that's basically like verbatim what they say. And so the idea there is, if you can get people clicking and watching more of your content, every single viewer that does that, you're increasing the chances of YouTube showing that content to other people on YouTube, because you're proving to them, one, that people get to the end. Two, you're also proving to them that not only do they get to the end, but they're so interested in what is happening in that series that they're watching or how you're chaining the content together, that they are going to click, and then they're going to get more opportunities to show ads to them because they're clicking, into those end screens, and they're staying involved in what it is that you're doing.
Which is why a great end screen hack that nobody I've seen bring up is to literally, for the end screen that you choose, besides the algorithm choosing it, you could just choose an end screen that in your data has been proven in a recent period to have the highest overall click-through rate, is the best performing topic, title, and thumbnail that you have in recent history, because it just statistically means that you'll have a higher click-through ratio at the end of those people that did go through to the end, because it's proven that it resonates with your audience. The data is already proven. And so there's no guesswork in something that's a top-tier performer.
And relevancy is important with that too.
Yes.
So like as an example, it wouldn't make sense for me to show, even though let's say that I have a piece, like a YouTube mistakes video, putting that on the end of a live stream video might not be the best idea, or a video about creating, uploading videos on your mobile device might not be a good fit at the end of a live streaming video. So when you're applying what he's talking about, you want to make sure that it's relevant, that you're finding the high performing things that are relevant to your audience in the specific pillars of content that you have on your YouTube channel.
Yeah. I saw something pop up in the chat. They're asking about cards.
Nerdy Lady, thank you.
What's that?
Oh, Nerdy Lady here just said you and Dee are the BS. Love your videos. Thank you. So what were you saying?
No, I was saying I saw a message pop up talking about using cards and how it drops your average view duration. So I've always been under the idea that you use cards the last 1/3 of your video or 1/4, and you don't put them earlier, because it will drop your average view duration if people are leaving.
Only if they
YouTube
leave.
specifically says the last 20% of your video. So depending on the video length itself, the last 20% of your video is the best practices in terms of what YouTube wants, which is right in alignment with what it is that you're talking about.
The verbal call out's important though, because believe it or not, most people are conditioned to follow verbal instructions, which means if you're telling them to watch this next or watch this later, even if you introduce it to them early, when you have the largest group of people's attention, it's that. And this works more for education content than entertainment content, by the way, because with education content, there's a psychology to learning where we've already been conditioned to have ideas introduced that we use later in lecture hall, in our classrooms, K through 12. So just understand there's a nuance to that advice that I'm giving there might be more for somebody whose content either is educational or is designed to push you through to, like, say, an affiliate link for, hey, that thing that I just built in the first third of the video, here's the list of all the tools that you need to buy. And someone understands that, okay, at the end of this video, I'm going to go and buy all that stuff. So like it's so always map it to outcomes and goals and things that you want, but also contextualize what the purpose of a video is.
That was good. We beat on that horse for a while. Yeah, that was a good one. Okay, so let's see here.
I got to jump out. I'm just gonna say bye. My
hey, thanks for hanging out, Jevin. Massively appreciated. Brian G, if you just happen to be watching, because you bounced too, so thank you for hanging out as well. So you guys have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you for your time. I'm sure everybody enjoyed having them on here.
Yeah, no, it's super awesome to see Jevin on here.
It is, absolutely is. I was pumped. He was like, "Hey," earlier in the week, he's like, "Hey, you got to shoot me a link to your thing. I want to come on." I'm like, "Absolutely."
Yeah.
Okay, so next that we have on the list is from Rachel's World. Rachel's World says that they do travel content. The goal of the channel is to taking my subs with me on travels. I only have 70 subscribers and almost no views. Could you let me know what you see wrong with the channel? We're not looking at channels right now. Next up on the list is Sir Dabs Official. And the question, they do reaction videos. Goal of the channel is trying to get monetized. Do you think reaction videos are a good niche to monetize? Sure. Absolutely.
They run into problems because of copyright claim.
Okay.
Like, yeah. Go ahead, Nick.
So I guess depending on what you're reacting to would probably be the answer on that one.
They're also
go ahead, Roberto. Expand.
Recently, they're less likely in more recent times to also even be approved when you apply, because now YouTube is screening for those things. So it depends. Now it's possible to get monetized as a reaction channel, but you run into issues. And then if you watched, I think it was, XMR Plays, I think it was the channel, they had a big dispute with Jukin Media, where basically they were kind of like copyright claiming or striking their stuff quite often, and like almost kind of being held for ransom in a way. Okay. So like content that leans exclusively on fair use of high-end properties owned by copyright holders that are known to do copyright on YouTube. If your goal and desire is a channel that's monetizable, you can do that if you enjoy reaction videos, but I think you should have in the back of your head the understanding that there's a real chance that you will get no ad revenue or very little ad revenue from this, or that your stuff will constantly be under the threat of copyright claim. And that you should, if you're going to do that, I would have a secondary channel of some kind where you're making original content. And I would kind of build a brand where you can also get people, you can use maybe the attention of the reaction channel as a funnel for your other channel where people care maybe more about what you're doing entertainment wise and you as a performer. Because I think that if you do a reaction channel, you're the most vulnerable type of YouTube channel. And I've seen channels not get approved for monetization, copyright claim, copyright striked into oblivion, especially in the anime community. And I've seen people oblivion. And also I've seen people apply for Play Button Awards, Nick, and be denied it specifically for being a reaction channel. So,
well, there's that then. Yeah, so there's that. So take all that into consideration. Real quick, I just want to say, Dee Nimmin in the house. What is up, Dee? I hope you are doing well down there in the Mexican sunshine. Hope that you are doing awesome. Link is in that Facebook thing if you want to hop in. So next question that we have here on the list is from Grumpy Duck VR. VR content, love it. They do VR gaming, and they say, I do this to remind myself to stop working. I own my own company and to fit time in for my only hobby, VR gaming. Nice. So basically, stop working to work on the YouTube channel. I like your way of thinking.
That's what I do.
How important is your discussion session on YouTube for a new YouTuber if no one's interacting with what you're posting on there? So your discussion section, I'm guessing you're talking about either the comments or you're talking about the community tab. Either one of those, if people aren't reacting or they're not into what you're doing or they're not responding enough to what it is that you're doing to interact, I would try to generate some interaction. But at the core of everything, the most important thing is being able to get people to click on your stuff and watch it for a fair amount of time. And then as you get better and better at that, then people are going to naturally start engaging in what it is that you're doing. But when people do leave comments, you want to make sure that you're replying to them if you're talking about your comment section. And you also as you progress and as you get good at keeping people watching, then you can start working on like your calls to action. Like, okay, I'm going to start asking people specific questions in my videos and have them answer in the comments. I'm going to, do different things that will encourage people to leave comments on my, underneath my videos. But first, get people watching your content. Get good at that part, and then start doing all the fancy stuff. In terms of your community feed, with your community feed, that can help you show up on home pages and things like that for the people that are subscribed to your YouTube channel. But with that, use it because it's a feature, but I wouldn't bank, I wouldn't bank stuff on it and expect a lot out of it, because once you have some momentum going on your channel, it's a great way to bring life into new content. It's a great way to have more intimate conversations with your audience like Roberto does on his channel. It's a great way to do that sort of thing, get surveys from the people that YouTube's showing your content to, all of that. But in terms of like a growth tool, it's not really something that you can be like, oh, okay, well, I'm just got to hack this community feed. There's stuff that you can do in there, but right now, just focus on getting people to click and watch, and then start trying to do all the fancy stuff. Do you have anything to add to that, Roberto?
I think you said it all for the most part, Nick. I think the main thing is just to really look at whether what you have is conversational, and then also what somebody benefits from, or how do you facilitate a conversation among people, even if it's not with you, but for the community to do it itself. You do a great job of this by having your Discord and your Reddit for the community. So I'm trying to promote
links
that
to the
more.
Reddit down in the description below. I'm actually not that active in the Discord.
I'm not that active in my Discord either. I really am trying to more push it like, you guys talk to each other. Don't come here for me. Come here for each other.
Right. Before and after the mix says that I've been a content creator for about 4 months now. Channel grew fast, monetized. I do gaming, blogs, and funny videos, but now I feel kind of stuck. So if you feel stuck now after you've got that growth on your channel, what you're probably going to find is you're going to find that there was just a handful of videos that caused all that growth to happen on your channel. So what you want to do is you want to go and see what it was that people responded to. Because if you're doing gaming, you're doing vlogs, and you're doing funny videos, right there, you're segmenting your audience into 3 humongous different segments, right? So instead of saying, okay, I'm going to make content for people that are interested in gaming, I'm going to make content for people that are interested in vlogs, or I'm going to make content for people that are interested in funny videos, you're doing everything. And because of that, people that subscribe for funny videos, when the gaming content's presented to them, they might not watch it, even though they were recently active on your channel. When the vlogs are shown to them, they might not necessarily respond to it because, again, they subscribe for the funny videos, not to see what's happening in your life, so to speak, through your vlogs. So you really have to go into your analytics now and see what it is that people responded to, and then make the decision on if that's the direction that you want to go with your channel. Now, what you can do is you can say, this is what people got value from me. So if I want to focus on channel growth, then I want to start making more content like this, because this is the stuff that people respond to when I make it, and just start making more of that content. So Roberto actually personally claimed the death of variety channels at VidCon. I think that was 2 years ago. And the reason for that is because of how YouTube works now. Now, if you're a unicorn and you have one of those just super magnetic personalities and things like that, sometimes you can get around it, but even then it's really tough. So because of that, you can really be working against yourself. But once your channel gets to a substantial size, then in that situation, then it might be easier. When you have a lot of viewers that are really into you and what it is you're doing, they'll watch anything that you do. In that case, you've earned it to where you've got to that point to where people are, coming in more for that. But in terms of just getting the channel started, just getting that momentum going, you just got monetized. So that tells me that your channel is still kind of in its infancy. So what you need to do is you need to step back and say, instead of just putting out all this random stuff, I need to focus on a specific type of person and the type of content that they like to enjoy. And I want that to match with what it is that I enjoy making, which would be all 3. That's why you're making them. And then say, I'm going to double down on this particular type of content until I can get some serious momentum on my channel, until I get a nice following, a lot of people that are coming back to my stuff. Then I can start experimenting to see if people are coming to my channel for the content or if they're coming to my channel for me. And what you're going to notice, and you have to be ready to swallow the pill, is that for some of you that are watching this, some of you, the people are going to be coming there for you, and you're going to know because you're going to experiment with content like that, and people are just going to start watching whatever you put out. And then for other people, you're going to have to swallow the pill like I do, to where it's like, hey, people are coming here for this, for the information. They're not necessarily coming here to like learn about my life or much about me. So because of that, you have to lean on whichever direction it is that or whatever it is that people respond to from you.
You have to make a firm decision.
Roberto, if you'd carry this for me for 1 second, I need to step away for literally 1 minute.
Absolutely, I can, and I can answer this question, and then I'll get to some more of the questions here. So what I would tell you is this, that the phrase how to grow on YouTube should be reduced to how to build a brand. And how you build a brand is you understand that a brand is a reputation and a body of work, and it's what other people are saying about you based on that reputation and based on that body of work. So what that means is we have to become known for something, and you have to look at if you feel stuck or stagnant in your channel, you have to recognize that if you're not growing, that you have to understand, well, nobody knows who you are and nobody's talking about you, or that no one can talk about you in a clear and easy to understand way and introduce you to people. So think about this. In the real world, the way that we grow when we pursue our career is we have to become known for something, and people have to be talking this up, but they have to be able to say something really specific about us, and they have to be, well, what are you known for? Primary example, in terms of YouTube coaching and YouTube growth, I'm known for being the no BS advice guy and for being the YouTube business guy, the guy who's very open and transparent about monetization, the guy who really talks about the numbers, the guy who does deep dives into the back end of his YouTube channel and shows you all of his analytics. Those are things all of you know about Roberto Blake. Those are things all of you associate with Roberto Blake is, radical candor and extreme accountability. Okay. Harsh, no BS advice that you may not always like, but you need. And that is something people would say about me, right? Now, you have to decide with whatever your content is, what is it that, whether you intentionally wanted to become known for this, you have to realize, well, you've become known for this thing, okay? And then you have to decide if you're okay with that, or if you want to start over and do the work and build the reputation and do the work to become known for something other than what you're currently known for, because you want to change the narrative around you. So again, building a YouTube channel, how to grow a YouTube channel should be reduced to the simple business idea of how do I build a brand? We all know Apple for very specific things. Apple built a very specific brand. What do we all say about Apple? Luxury device, expensive, minimalist, good user experience, iOS. They focused on what they wanted to become known for. Adobe becomes known for very specific things. The Adobe suite, the Adobe ecosystem, the variety of tools, the prestige of it being the #1 recommended tools of a certain group of people, et cetera, et cetera. Things YouTube is known for is its features. It became known early because it was the first platform to give more than 50% of something to creators. It was the only one doing that. And the only place where creators could make substantial money at the time on the internet. It became, because free video hosting was something a lot of people were doing at the time. YouTube had to do things to stand out. I think that a lot of you are not looking at either where you stand out because you don't know where your real strengths lie versus where you wish that they lied, because you're looking up to and admiring somebody else, and you're judging everything about yourself on their strengths, not your own. And then I think the other thing is that you are not looking at, if you have an audience, if you have 1,000 people, 5,000 people, 10,000 people, you're ignoring what it is that you are known for versus what you wish you were known for. And you may not be willing to do the work and the time to become known for what you wish you were known for versus what you're already known for. So then you have to make a choice. Do I want to ride the momentum that I already have and go with the direction that the audience is pushing me? Or do I want to go through the effort of hurting the audience in the direction I want to go that will make me the happiest or give me, the most time for effort? Or like, what is, you have to make these very, very introspective decisions, which is why what we try to talk about, Nick, is we try to teach people that we can give you tactics and best practices because those are a good foundation for doing something effectively. That's not what's going to really by itself determine your results. Your results are going to be largely determined on the amount of self-awareness you already have in terms of what you will not burn out of, what you can creatively actually stay emotionally invested in, and then the realistic amount of where does my talent or skill lie and how much work am I really prepared to do to get results versus am I really just wanting results with as little effort as possible, which, by the way, that by itself isn't lazy if you're saying if it's a resource issue or you just don't have a lot of time or resources or energy, or you have a home life or a career, whatever it is. So I'm not judging based on, oh, you want results with the minimal amount of effort. Maybe realistically, you're just trying to work with what you have, and that's not a lot. That's fair. But what we're trying to tell you is to not take shortcuts. We want you to do best practices so you don't have bad habits, you don't take shortcuts. But more than best practices, the reason there are YouTubers that grow in spite of doing everything the opposite of what we say is because they have the innate self-awareness to know what they're good at, what they're passionate at, and they're capable of going all in on themselves. That is a rare and special level of confidence that I don't think the majority of people have. And it'd be nice if they did. So until or unless that's the case for you, you've got to do a little bit more internal work, because I promise you that a lot of wherever you're stagnation in on YouTube is probably a lack of the internal work, not your tactics and strategy by itself.
And on that note, I just want to say Travis MVP in the chat. He's MVP in our book. What's up, man? He says, how do you pin your comment? I can't figure out where to do that in my streams. For this, we're actually using StreamYard. And to do it, all you do is you just hover over the chat, and then you just click on the chat. And when you click on it, then it just puts it over the screen like that.
I think he means pinned in the live chat.
Oh, pin it. Yeah, so basically when you're live, okay, my bad. Yeah, so basically when you're live, and we have a special guest coming in right here in a second, but basically when it's live, I just click on the 3-dot menu, and then it gives me the option to pin a comment. But it's got to be live first, so I have to leave the comment, just like I do on a YouTube video, and then I hit the 3-dot menu on the right, and then I pin it.
In the and I assume you're doing that in the watch page of the video.
Yes. Yeah, the watch page of the video on the actual chat. So you can do it on the watch page, or you can also do it in the live stream preview area as well.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Batal.
Good morning.
Daniel, we love you, Daniel. We love you. We love you, Daniel.
Wait, I've been making this joke all day. I'm trying to get the right slope of heads. Okay.
There you go. There you go. Perfect.
Then we
That's
should
it.
be fine. All right, this will work. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great,
Good.
man. How are you?
Good. Just managed to wrestle my way through a shower while listening to the stream in the background. So
All right.
been-
That's good. It
has
makes
anyone
me
else
a little bit
noticed-
uncomfortable to know that you're in the shower listening.
I was
honest.
thinking of you while scrubbing
Yeah.
every part of my body.
So that just made it even more uncomfortable. Yeah. So thanks even less.
You're
yeah,
welcome.
that's great.
You're very welcome. Have you guys noticed that your schedule has changed at all with any of the quarantining? Or I know that a lot of us kind of live in our studios, but I'm finding like my day is all messed up. I'm up much later. I don't even know when I'm starting. Is it morning? Is it Friday? I don't even know.
I'm
what
trying
it
to
is.
hold to it, but I am finding it challenging sometimes to honor my schedule and my structure.
I'm a mess. I'm a total mess. So like some nights I'll be like, okay, I'm going to try to go to bed, by like 2 a.m. And then like last night, I think I was up until like somewhere around 4 because we're rewatching Breaking Bad because my girlfriend hasn't watched it yet. So I'm watching it again with her. And anybody that watches Breaking Bad, if you've watched Breaking Bad, just give me a hashtag yes, because you're going to know exactly what I'm getting ready to tell you. Their cliffhangers are off the charts. Like I can't just tell her, I can't just be like, okay, well, that's the last one. Let's go to bed. Like, that's just not even a reality, right? So it has to get to the point to where we're just completely exhausted. We can't watch another one without falling asleep, and then we go to bed. Just because their cliffhangers are incredible.
Breaking Bad might be the best written TV drama of the 2000s.
So good, and I love how they shoot things too. Like they're just so creative in the shots as well. Like the camera work there,
and what they did with
just
Albuquerque,
awesome.
with really showing you Albuquerque. Like, I mean, I haven't seen the location of a show utilized so well and so heavily. Aside from, I would make the argument that I think that if you guys ever had watched like Sex and the City, they did a really good job of showing off New York in Sex and the City. New York was considered the co-star of that series, and I think that Albuquerque, like Breaking Bad, made like Albuquerque, New Mexico, put it on the map. It's like, I mean, can't you don't you just sit there and doesn't make you aside from all the other things, like doesn't make you just want to be like, man, I just kind of want to go out there and shoot something,
I just took this whole stream and turned it left, didn't I? Hey, I'm sorry.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay. It's good for that. It's good for like some conversation. And then we can kind of get on with the
advice to Sex and the
it's like
City in a heartbeat.
yeah. It's like do that and then kind of put the train back on the tracks, keep on trucking, and then kind of let it go astray.
pin your comment, and then get right to Sex in the City.
Yeah.
Those two things will probably grow your
Well, here's the
channel more
thing.
quickly.
Casey Neistat made New York the co-star of his YouTube channel, and
True.
that's another thing that's been said about his stuff as well as Sex in the City. And the thing is, there's something to be said for a lot of you for literally becoming a hometown hero. You don't have to be a travel channel, but if you guys are going to do vlogs or do something personality driven, the thing is,
It is, Doug.
You should utilize the space that you have, and you don't have to build a fancy YouTube office. You should utilize the space that you have. I see this with skateboarders. Skateboarders are really smart about utilizing the environment and the city and the town that they live in, and making other people like background characters in their thing, kind of like how Marlon, the UPS driver, became a recurring character in the Casey Neistat saga.
And Casey was always really good at, like, he wasn't afraid of going out on whatever device he was on at that point, electric skateboard or one wheel or whatever they were. And while he was filming, it was always like he's in the middle of a line, and he'd pass by someone who would be like, Casey! And he'd stop and go,
Yeah.
hey, how you doing? And it was always kind of part of his running thing. It's like he was in the city. He wasn't hiding from it. And it became really, that was one of my favorite parts of watching his videos, is just people shouting him out as he's like barreling through traffic.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring us back on the rails here, gentlemen,
Thank
and we're going to answer some more YouTube questions from the forum here. So this next one's from Gamesterdam, and they say that their goal is to increase their fan base. It's a comedy tech gaming channel. But the question is, can I hit 100,000 subs till the end of this year? I have 108,000 subs right now. If you grind it out and you make high response content, then sure, yeah, you can. But you have to really make sure that you're paying attention to what's going on with your channel. You're gonna have to put out awesome content that people really, really enjoy in order for that to happen. But yes, it's absolutely possible. People do it in 3 months. People do it in 6 months after starting YouTube channels.
How
it's
much-
just not something that happens that quickly, typically. But yeah,
How many
it's definitely
subscribers does he
possible.
currently have?
1,000.
I think it's a unrealistic. It's possible, but I think it's an unrealistic goal. I think it's an unfair goal. And here's how I'm gonna make a video about this, and like it's like about YouTube subscriber goals, and it's gonna be contrarian, and everyone's gonna hate me, and I'm gonna get like 50,000 dislikes on it, and then every commentary channel is going to call me a hypocrite on this. But here's my answer to why YouTube subscriber goals might be bad, and they might be one of the worst things in our community, even though everyone likes to celebrate milestones. Here's the thing: if I made it your job and I told you as your boss that you have to get this many views and you have to get this many subscribers by the end of the year, or you're fired, or I'm docking your pay, or I'm going to rip you a new one, you would scream about me all the reasons why that's not controllable, that's unreasonable, that's unfair, why that's stressing you out, and why it's negatively impacting your content, and why it's making you second guess all of your decisions. If I were your boss and I told you that your career depends on you getting from 1,000 to 100,000 YouTube subscribers in a year, and if you fail to meet that goal, I'm going to blackball you from the industry, I'm going to talk all this crap about you and everything, you'll never work in this town again, you would call me the devil.
You're worthless. You're good for nothing. You'll never work in this town again.
Yeah, it's like if I gave you some like ridiculous Glengarry Glen Ross level like freaking toxic vitriol, like really went into like the just the total dark side. Like I would, like if I really leaned into you would tell me that I'm the worst boss in the world. You would tell me how unreasonable I am, how unfair I am, how much of this is outside of your control, how you would tell me all the things about the algorithm, you'd tell me about the competition, the saturation, you would tell me how under-resourced you are, you would tell me that you haven't been doing this very long, that that's a lot to put on a beginner. If I made this decision for you as your boss and I held you accountable to it and I dictated that to you, you would tell me it's an unreasonable, unfair standard to hold you to, and that I'm being a jerk. So why is it that we as entrepreneurs, content creators, why is it that we put something on ourselves that we would never accept if somebody forced our hand and dictated that to us? Why is it that we are so abusive to ourselves in setting completely unrealistic standards that have no self-awareness and no audit of what we currently have in terms of resources and what is usually the resourced situation and what the realistic thing is. The realistic thing is, to the point you brought up, Nick, the case study that we did with TubeBuddy, where they showed the timeline of most people to get to 10,000 subscribers. It's a number of years and it's hundreds of videos even to get to 10,000 for on average. And that was an audit of 3 million channels. So it's a really healthy case study, and it's a really healthy data set. And to get to 100,000 subscribers on average takes people 5 to 6 years and 800 plus videos. And it's usually because a couple of them do pop for them. It's
to be specific.
Yeah.
To be specific. The average channel with 1,000 to 10,000 subscribers has 152 uploads. The average channel with 10,000 to 100, and this is from TubeBuddy, the sponsor of this live stream, link to them in the description. But the average channel with 10,000 to 100,000 subscribers has 418 uploads. The average channel with 100,000 to 1,000,000 subscribers has 1,171 uploads. And the average channel with 1,000,000 plus subscribers has 3,873 uploads. So like when you look at that, that's like, holy cow, look at this mountain that I got to climb. Right. So give yourself a little bit of patience, I think, is kind of what Roberto is getting to with this.
And I like what Being Drawn says, that KPIs, key performance indicators, is a measurable value that demonstrates how effectively a company is achieving business objectives and goals, and essential, the same as the subscriber goal. But here's where I disagree as somebody who runs a 6-figure business. When I go back to my team that I have now with KPIs, I'm basing those KPIs in things that we have control over and things that we've done a lot of research to understand are within our capabilities. And the thing is, I know that I can't achieve the same outcomes as somebody who can spend $1,000 a day in ads. There is no amount of reasonable work or time to effort. If I have a $300 a day ad budget, there's nothing that I can reasonably do. There's no optimization that is like going to create the same result for me with what I know as someone who has $1,000 a day to spend. And so it's unreasonable for me to have the expectation that I can do the same thing. If I have a staff of 3 people, I am not going to be able to produce the same amount of hours into effort of any execution as someone who has a staff of 15 people. And so I have no business comparing myself. And what YouTubers do is this: they compare themselves and their fast growth to somebody who might have had natural ability and charisma and talent. Primary example, if you're somebody who had a gift for gab and had a lot of friends in high school, and you were a risk taker and a daredevil, maybe like the Paul brothers or something like that, or you're very body confident, like a Janelle Ileana, and very, very self-aware of how quirky and goofy you are to where you can do outlandish things, you have an advantage over everybody in YouTube that is second guessing themselves because they think that they're too old, or they think that they're not pretty enough, or they stutter. Like somebody who is super self-aware and super confident into themselves is like, if you're an introvert, you can't judge yourself by the standards of an extrovert. If you are somebody who is, it's like a fish judging itself by the standards of a bird. It's ridiculous. And the reason that I am against this particular thing is I don't think most people are qualified, Beanie, to set a KPI. I don't think most people are qualified to set a KPI because I don't think they have realistic baselines for what is real and what is not. And the thing is, YouTube creates a lot of situations where you don't know what's real.
And on that note, I also want to mention too that it's also important to look at things. I mean, it is good to keep an eye on your numbers because those numbers are reflective of, your progress. But I think that it's also important to make sure that you have goals so that you're measuring the right things. So I was having a conversation, this was last year. I was having a conversation with somebody at Social Media Marketing World, and George over there. And basically when I was talking to him, he was asking me, he's like, yeah, I like really want to like blow up my YouTube channel and stuff. And, so do you have any like tips for me? And I'm like, that's super cool. Everybody wants to blow up their YouTube channel, but what are you actually trying to accomplish with your YouTube channel? And he's like, I'm just trying to bring exposure to my business and drive sales. And I'm like, are you driving sales? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, are you driving like a lot of sales? Are you happy? He's like, oh, I couldn't be happier with the amount of sales that I'm driving. And I'm like, okay, well, in that situation, like you've already achieved that thing that you've already won. After. Right. You already won. So the thing that you have to do now, of course, is you want to swell that up, but you also have to make sure that you're focused on the right thing, because he's like, yeah, I'm just getting like 1,000 views a video. And his perspective was, I'm just getting 1,000 views a video, but he's overlooking the fact that he's over the moon about the amount of sales that he's driving to his business and the amount of awareness that he's spreading about what he's offering. So because of that, you have to be really mindful of what it is that you are wanting out of your YouTube channel so you can make sure that you're tracking the right stuff, because sometimes it's not always view counts or it's not always subscriber counts that you need to gauge your success by. Like for example, like on my channel, like if I wanted to just blow my channel up, I would focus on mobile and live streaming content. I would make one more YouTube tips video. I would just focus on those two things, and that's all I would do. And I would just do them over and over and over again. And it's easier content to make too. So
I would only make
because
videos
that's not
on how
right
to
in
make money
alignment.
online. I would
Yeah,
only
so
make
like in
videos
his
on how to make
situation,
money
right? Like those are the things that actually, you know, that work for the channel. But in terms of, you know, working towards, you know, the things that help in terms of positioning, the stuff that gets me on like stages and allows me to be able to network with, you know, awesome people like the people on screen right now. Like, you know, the content that I make now is what makes that kind of stuff possible, in addition to the stuff that grows my channel. Don't get me wrong, the YouTube help stuff grows the channel too, but I'm saying if I wanted to really accelerate things. So because of that, it's really important to weigh out what is it that I want from this versus the specific content decisions that you're making for the sake of blowing up the channel, because blowing up the channel might not be the thing that you actually want if you have other things that you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Daniel?
I'm supposed to ask. I'm going to give you a third perspective right here.
Okay.
Because both Nick and Roberto have been on the platform longer than I am. Well, at least in terms of their specific channels they're pushing now, have been on the platform longer than mine has. I'm not a fan of people who just scream stuff out. I want 100,000 subscribers. Like, okay, you know, I want a Lamborghini. What are you going to do to make that happen? And why is that important to you? And is it a goal that you're willing to sacrifice for? I can tell you from my perspective, my channel, even though the averages Nick just spit out there, those are the averages. Can you beat the averages? Absolutely. Can you fall behind the averages? Absolutely. It depends on your work.
That's why they're averages.
Yeah.
Right. I was able to take my channel from 0 to 10,000 subscribers in 10 months. My channel is under 2 years
How many videos
old.
to do that?
It took me to get to 10,000 was about 50 or 55, right in there.
And you were a niche channel.
And I really dialed down and tried to find one audience and super serve them content where I saw opportunity. I spent a lot of time figuring out where there were holes where I could create content that I didn't think was being appropriately served to the audience that was ready to digest and consume it. So it was a matter of supply and demand. I saw an opportunity and I ran with it. But that's what it is. What are you willing to do? If you're going to stand here and just scream, I'm going to get 10,000 subscribers. If your plan is to scream to people, subscribe to my channel, but it's going to be a very long, hard road to get that, you know, silver play button. But, you know, I'm poised to hit probably my silver play button right about my birthday, which would be September. So it'll be a little after the 2-year mark. I'm at about 60 some odd now. But I've been working my butt off really hard and really paying attention to the content I make, and even within my tiny niche.
Great birthday present, by the way. Just want to say.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh yeah, no, that's like. But the thing is, it's also not just wouldn't that be nice? You were diligent. You did something most people don't do, which is one, you narrowed the scope of your content and you did it in a service-oriented way to a specific, unique group of people to make being part of a tribe easier. What people are trying to do is they're trying to blow up doing a lot of things and doing variety because they want to express every aspect of their personality, and they're not respecting that it's okay for a viewer to say, I don't care about every aspect of your personality, which is something even I had to learn is like, okay, they came here for their reasons, not me, and you have to respect that. And the thing is, people want, but like, and it's fine for people to say, but I want them to come for me. It's like, well, you have to accept that that's a slower, harder road because you are literally not in control of how many people like you. No one like, and the thing is that whatever the ratio is being proven on that's why people who are trying to build personality channels, they only succeed on it by going viral, because then they get so many like think about it like this. Janelle Ileana comes up a lot and everything like that. She got the exposure of a video that had over 12 million people watching. So then the conversion ratio was that about roughly 10 or 20% of those people decided to subscribe and to commit to more of her. Now, a lot of people don't think that that's real, but like almost everybody who thinks that's not real is usually a dude, and I'll just be real. I think it's usually a late 20s, early 30s, early 40s dude who probably doesn't get that. It's like, gee, I wonder if there are a lot of young women that are either in the transition of high school, middle school, college that are thinking about maybe traveling and road tripping by themselves, or gee, are into tiny house or sustainable living, or have pets, or are quirky. Gee, I wonder why a 20, 30, 40 something year old dude doesn't understand quirky girl culture. Gee, I wonder if they did what I did and they asked their little sisters about why they subscribed to this girl to understand that there was a market of people that are like solo female traveler. Almost all the travel stuff that I see that involves females is usually them and they're part of a couple. It's not a solo female, and the thing is, I will remind everybody, most people are single, so like there's something to that. It's also usually people, to be honest, that are older, like late 20s, early 30s, 40s, because traveling is a expense. It's a luxury item to a lot of people. So to see that a young person can do it affordably and do it very modestly is then attractive to this new culture of extreme frugality. So Daniel and Janelle Ileana, to different results, did basically a lot of the same things. They played to their strengths and their personalities. They focused on becoming known for something. Now the difference is Janelle blew up, but there was the opportunity to blow up in a broad way, whereas Daniel whereas Daniel went more with a focused approach that is for a specific type of person versus saying, I went broad and then I got a certain amount of those people to convert. Daniel went narrow, and it was very easy for the number of people who watch Daniel, I believe, to convert at a higher percentage threshold even than Janelle. And that's the difference between a broad audience entertainment thing versus something much more narrow or that has a specific culture to it. It's the difference between being a gaming YouTube channel versus being a Valorant YouTube channel or a Fortnite YouTube channel. People also have to say, oh, I want 100,000 subscribers. What's the market cap in your niche? How many people have done this and got 100,000? And what was the quality of content that they had to move from in the early beginning of their channel to the middle to the further point when they got that result? And what's the gap in the amount of work they did and the quality
and just
of
can
work?
you compete? And can you compete with what
create,
with what they do or what they've done? Can you compete?
What do you bring to the table is one of the biggest things that I always ask. Like,
it is.
People yell these things out and say, well, I want to hit this goal. What are you going to do to make
what's
that
the
happen?
standard for a yes?
Yep.
Figure out what's the standard for a yes. Like you said, if you said to me that, Roberto, I want to make $10,000 a month, I'd go, what's the standard for the quality and level of work for someone who makes that amount of money? What is the clientele that they have? And do you have the ability to find and meet those kind of people? Or are you hanging out with broke people? Because if you're hanging out with broke people, there's no pathway to $10,000 a month. You have to hang out with affluent people to get to that. You have to go where money exists. Do you have the capability? And do you know where money exists? Okay, so you're not educated about where money exists compared to somebody who is. What do you do about it? What do you like? So what's the work look like? And that's where this subscriber goal thing becomes very challenging, is because I don't think people, and maybe we need to educate more about this, I don't think people have a baseline for what it actually takes and looks like to deliver something that 100,000 people will say yes to. And what are those standards? And it's, by the way, it's different for person to person, to niche, because some people just have a personality or, frankly, a level of attractiveness or a level of talent that is a yes, no matter what.
So real quick, so we can move on from this one. Before and after Demix says, what do you guys think about growth streams? As a content creator, do you believe that it's a waste of time? Absolutely, without question, 1,000%, 1,000,000%, it's a waste of time. You're actually working against yourself. And the reason that you're working against yourself is because you're introducing people to your channel that have something involved in terms of they want something back. So in that situation, what you're doing is you are having people subscribe to your channel that are only subscribed because they're expecting you to subscribe back. Therefore, they could care less about the actual content that you're putting out on your channel, which means when it's presented to them on YouTube, they're not going to click on it, which then ultimately ends up working against you. So at all costs, even if it means you have 0 subscribers and you have to stay at 0 subscribers until you figure out how to move forward, never, ever, under any circumstance, do participate in a growth stream. Never do any type of sub for sub. Never do anything like that, because it's ultimately working against you, and you are basically helping encourage other people to do the same exact thing. So not only are you working against yourself, but you're helping other people work against themselves as well. So because of that, never, ever, under any circumstance, do that. You guys have any thoughts on that?
You nailed it.
Okay. So next up, yeah, Roberto says growth streams are the weakest strategy. It is. That's like super, like, that's like way down here. One Step says, ashamed to admit that I used pay for view service when I first started YouTube. I realized my mistake later. Do I start over with a new channel or keep grinding? Keep grinding. Like, the thing is, if you did a pay for views channel or a pay per view service, then what's going to happen is those bots and everything that they've used for that, like, they're not going to respond anyway. So just keep moving forward, keep, plugging out with your content, and you'll, Like it still comes down to being able to get people to respond. You have to be able to get people, human beings that are looking around YouTube for stuff to watch. You got to be able to get them to respond to what it is that you're doing. If you can do that, then any mistakes that you've made in the past can be undone, because all it takes is one good video to get you over those humps. So because of that, keep grinding, keep making content, and just avoid those types of services like the plague or like the coronavirus.
And I would add one other thing in there. Just be really careful. It's, in the future, when you come up if you're trying to get your channel monetized at some point, you're trying to make money, YouTube does manually review your channel, and it takes a look at the history of your channel. And there is the potential, though it's very slight, I don't want to freak anybody out, that when they look at your channel, if they look that you may have broken terms of service or community guidelines along the way,
they can ban you. Just fully terminate your channel.
Yeah, they could, because now they're going to, something they may not have caught before. When you get scrutinized, you could either not be allowed to get your channel monetized, or it could get pulled if they start recognizing that you've actually been paying for views. It's really easy for them to spot. So just be really careful and avoid all that stuff. It's not worth it.
Yeah, at all. Karma Cashflow says the goal of the channel is passive income, or the type of channel. The goal is to teach people how to build passive income online. And the question is, how much marketing / advertising do you recommend after you publish an episode? What does that side of things look like for you? And what do you do to get your video out there besides just relying on search or recommended videos? So that's the trick, right? That's the elephant in the room. So basically, when it comes to getting people to respond to your content, there's no amount of like marketing that you can do that will make your channel all of a sudden have an audience that will all of a sudden respond to your content. So even if you're putting ad money behind what it is that you're doing, that doesn't necessarily mean that those people are going to respond to what it is that you're doing. So at the very core of everything, you have to be able to get people to click on what it is that you're doing, and you have to be able to get them to make content that they enjoy and that they'll watch for a fair amount of time. And I have a video on different video links and what the averages are for those times across a bunch of channels. But basically, the thing is when you spend money on advertising, or you're sharing your content in all these places online, depending on the content, depending on where you're sharing it, it can be effective. Like let's say that you have an animation channel and you're sharing stuff on Reddit and on like our videos, and people are like, wow, this is amazing, and they start watching it like crazy. They start sharing it with their friends because it's awesome content. It still comes down to it being awesome content, right? If it's not awesome content, what's going to happen is wherever you share it, people are going to come in, they're going to start watching it for just a short amount of time. You're going to get that hockey stick of death that we always talk about, and they're just going to bounce, right? So because of that, you have to find the right places to share your content with people who are interested in what it is that you're doing. Unfortunately, for the space that you're operating in, I'm just being straight up with you, unfortunately, because of the space that you're operating in, a lot of marketers and we'll just say marketers, a lot of marketers have just destroyed your ability to be able to just share that content in random places to where it would be an excellent fit, because people spam that type of thing a lot. So unfortunately for you, you're kind of working against the grain on that one. So because of that, in terms of natural organic sharing, you're a little bit limited in your ability, because those places are it's going to be difficult to find those places to where that will welcome your content. But one thing that you do need to do is you still need to be able to get people to respond on YouTube. And at the end of the day, all the people that you want to show your content to, like, they're there. They're already on YouTube. They're already there. They're looking for videos to watch. They're literally on YouTube right now watching videos. Like Pat Flynn, I think, is live right now. They're watching Pat's videos right now, right? And they're watching Pat's videos because Pat knows how to get people to click, because he's been doing online stuff for forever. So he knows how to get people to click. He knows how to make content that people enjoy and they get value from, and that they'll watch for a longer period of time. So because of that, they continue to come back and watch his content. It's not about, hey, he's spending money to get people there. It's more about he's making content that people enjoy, and he knows how to trigger his audience to click on the videos that he's putting out. And that's what makes his channel roll, instead of, just sharing content in different places. I'm sure he uses his email list as well. But in that situation, even if he's using his email list, again, even if he's putting out content and he's sending it out to, let's say, just this huge email list, guess what? If the content sucks, people still aren't going to watch it, and YouTube is still not going to surface that content. So it's really important to make sure that you're focused on YouTube first. Get people to respond on YouTube first, and then start trying to explore ways to start sharing it in places. But even then, if you can get YouTube to work for you in terms of just making content that people respond to, you're not going to have to waste your time sharing it, because it's all going to happen naturally. Other people are going to be watching and sharing your stuff. You're not going to have to do anything. All you're going to have to do in that situation is just keep making good content that people respond to, and then YouTube is going to take care of everything else. or the
And that's-
people that are on YouTube are going to take care
That's
of
a
everything
very
else.
general misconception about YouTube, that you have to understand a couple of things, like Nick was saying. One, you can bring some people in from the outside, you can share on different platforms, but you might be sharing to platforms like a Facebook or somewhere else where you might get that view, but those people may not natively be YouTube users. So you might get that one view, but there's nothing, those people may not come back to YouTube and watch another video tomorrow or get your content served to them tomorrow. So the value is depreciated on some of those external views when you really natively want to try to get YouTube to promote your channel. The question kind of made me step back, go, how do I, it's basically like saying, how do I win the NASCAR race without actually driving around the track? It's like, well, you're asking a question that kind of answers itself. You really do want to be found in search. You really do want YouTube to recommend your content. That is the paradigm. And a lot of people look and go, well, okay, so it's about getting views, right? So I'll just advertise and then I'll get more views. You have to understand, if you look at your retention reports, YouTube actually tracks paid views and paid retention separately than it does from organic views and organic retention. So if you think that they're all the same thing, they aren't. YouTube's understanding how your video is performing organically and starts understanding what viewers to recommend it to, and it looks at the paid stuff very differently and very separately and defines it with different graphs right in your data. So
and you can even see, like, if you look at your traffic sources too, same exact thing. Like, you'll see, hey, when people are coming in from Twitter, like this is what's going on with them.
And
yeah,
that's a bad thing. If you want to go out on Twitter and say, I've got a new video,
sure.
People who are fans of your channel and follow your channel, but may have missed notifications, and you're just trying to spread the word, new content's up. I love it. But don't disembark from the fact that maybe you're not getting the views you want and go, okay, well, where's the other trick? Where's the other easy button that I do? Where do I throw money to all of a sudden grow my channel? It all comes down to connecting with your audience, finding a target audience, defining that target audience, and consistently making content that serves their needs every week, every month, every time you publish. That's the path to growth.
Now, with all of that said, if your content is already getting a response and you are already doing well and people are watching your content, you are getting comments, there's nothing wrong with marketing your content. So one thing that I like to recommend to people is that if you are going to market your content, that you know that you're going to get some type of ROI on it. But in terms of like running YouTube ads and things like that, there's nothing wrong with that. You can absolutely do that. But the most important thing at the core of that, though, is that you need to make sure that people are responding to what it is that you're doing first, because there's no amount of money that you can throw at your channel that will fix videos that people don't respond to in terms of getting YouTube to show it to people.
The thing I would say that I would add to this, because both of what you said is absolutely true and right, is that I think the answer still lies in building a holistic brand by being part of the actual community where the community talks about these things, and becoming a genuine contributor, not even an expert, but a genuine contributor to the community and one of the most beloved members of the community of making money online, weekend warriors, people who are trying to find financial freedom. And I think you do that not only by making great content, but you have to respond to everyone who engages with the content you're already making. And then I think you do need to, it's not about taking people offline to YouTube, it's about going where other people are talking about those things and then making them aware of you and being involved, make them aware of you. I think that one of the things you could be doing is, because you're targeting a psychology and a type of person, is that you need to not make them, like, being aware of your YouTube channel is one thing. They need to be aware of you. They need to be aware of you. And I think that this is where I agree with, like, if you're trying to grow YouTube, you focus on YouTube. But I still think if you're trying to grow YouTube, that if you want to talk about the word marketing, the best marketing in the world to this day is still word of mouth. It's still reputation based. Reputation is everything. Reputation is all. And I think that the way you build a reputation is you engage and you interact and you have conversations with as many human beings as possible. Because it's unscalable, people respect it more, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to find something to scale. And the thing is, if you're starting out and you're in growth mode, startups don't scale the first 3 or 5 years. Businesses don't scale, they build. And you build one customer at a time, one connection at a time, one loyal relationship at a time. And so what I think most YouTubers don't do is, I think most YouTubers don't have the fortitude and the, in many cases, just to be very blunt about it, the respect for what an audience is and could or should be, to literally ask themselves if they're willing to talk to 100 human beings every single day, knowing that 5 of them might decide to give their content a shot, because if they did that, then that means that they have their first 150 in 30 days if they're diligent, maybe more. If you're really good, 30 days, you get 1,000 people because you were diligent enough to talk to 100 people, and maybe you found a way after a period of time to get 30 of them every day to say, I'm willing to give you a shot and commit to you, and I like what you are doing so far. And if you're also listening to the feedback of those people and taking it seriously, they respect that more, because here's the other thing. People who are loyal and you've really delivered value for, talk to other people and they recruit. Now, those 30 loyal people, you made 30 loyalists will go out and they'll bring you 5 of their friends each. You got 150 people. You need an algorithm for that. Everyone obsesses and whines and cries about algorithms and the idea that YouTube's supposed to do all of this work for them. What about literally doing the virtual equivalent of knocking on doors and just sitting down with people and giving them real value and a reason to actually give a crap about you? If you want them to subscribe so badly, what are you willing to do to do that? You see, I don't think people are willing, Nick, to sit there and literally go 5 comments deep with 10 people in their audience that haven't hit subscribe yet just to get 10 new subscribers a day, but they want to tell me they're not growing.
Yeah, and also another thing, too, that I just want to mention really quick. And first, really quick before I do that, Jonathan O'Rear, welcome to channel membership. Next time you're on Facebook, make sure that you look for Nimminati VIP. That's our members-only Facebook group. Fill out all the questions on the way in, because I vet and make sure that everybody that is joining that is a member, so make sure that you do that. But hey, one Nick, thing that I wanted to mention is I use...
Nick, do you have your Facebook group posted on the community tab of your channel?
No.
You should. If you post it there, it can show up as a members-only tab that only members can see, and they'd be able to find the link. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, so I'm hypersensitive about the stuff that I post on my community tab, and the reason for that is because in the guidelines it has the thing about posting for the purpose of sending people off platform. Mm-hmm. So because of that, I don't post direct links to anything directly off of YouTube from my tab, just to be on the safe side. Gotcha. So it's probably fine, but just to be on the safe side, I
talked to my channel manager about that, posts. And the thing is, that's a grain of salt kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Because they've actually even strategically said you should be doing it to promote merch, for example, to get people to go buy your stuff, because they're they say that, but the thing is, they're also sensitive to the fact that people need to take people off platform, because they're I
don't have a problem sending people off platform. I just don't do it from like a community post.
Oh, I see.
For example,
sure.
Yeah. But no problem at all. Like I send people off platform all day long.
But my community manager was saying that people have been very successful doing that for merch, for example, and they're trying to encourage it. They're trying not to scare people from doing that, because I think part of it is they secretly want people to make as much money outside of YouTube as they can, so people can stop yelling at them about monetization.
But one thing that I wanted to mention here really quick is that on like on Reddit, for example, there are, like, if you're trying to make sure that you're involved in the communities around the topics that you're talking about, as you start building your influence, you're going to notice that people will start sharing your content. They'll start mentioning you randomly and things like that in all of these places on the internet. There is a website called If This Then That. And in there, you can actually set up alerts for, like, if somebody mentions you on Reddit, for example, then you can get an email that will be like, hey, somebody mentioned you on Reddit. This is the subreddit. This is the actual post. So you can go in and you can be that person that's like, oh, hey, thanks for mentioning me or recommending my channel or like whatever it happens to be. But you can go in, you can interact with your community in places like that too. But those alerts basically just make sure that you're on top of what's happening around you. There's also websites. I think Mention is one of them, to where you can do that same exact thing, to where, like, on Twitter and Facebook and Reddit and all these other places, you have to pay for that one. But it'll also, you know, let you know when people are mentioning you, so that you can make sure that you're not only interacting in those groups anyway, to where you'll just run across those, but so that you can make sure that when you are mentioned, that you can make sure that you are in there interacting with the people that are being cool enough to talk about you on these different platforms and recommend your YouTube channel to other people. So next up on the list, we've got Smoky Burger. Good name, Smoky Burger.
Hey, Nick,
and Smoky Burger.
There was a question in the chat that I don't want you to miss over that was kind of interesting. That was Ethan Daniel asked you specifically, hey, do you ever have YouTubers look at your channel?
I do. Yeah, I get feedback. I get feedback all the time. And the reason for that is because luckily, like, I you know, like I talk to people online and I'm friends with people that also do what I do, which is fantastic. But, you know, like I ask for feedback all the time, but I make sure that when I'm asking for feedback, that I'm asking for specific feedback from a specific person that is really good at the thing that I'm asking for feedback from. So it's not just a general like, hey, let me know what you think about this. It's let me know what you think about this because I know that you are very well versed in this. And when I ask you that question, you know exactly, you know, how to, you know, give me feedback on that thing. For example, I was talking to Roberto. It was either yesterday or the day before. We had a Twitter conversation just about marketing my website, right? Because Roberto's really good at that sort of thing. So I was talking to Roberto, and we were just talking about, you know, different things that we can do, you know, for or different things that I can do. He's giving me the advice on different things that I can do to market the website, so that, you know, so that I can turn it into a brand in a more efficient manner. So, you know, things like that. Like I always reach out for help. I never hesitate to reach out for help if I need it in that regard. Just because like I would be crazy too. Like access, you know what I mean? Like access to, you know, to people that know what it is that they're talking about. Like I would be shooting myself in the foot by not asking for feedback from people that, you know, that know what they're talking about.
I'm trying to do it more because I think I'm bad at asking for help.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm trying to do it more, and I'm also trying to make sure that I give as much help to other people as possible too, because, you know, I'd feel guilty otherwise. But like, yeah, always ask for help. I would also say from people that you've taken the time to build a good relationship with, and that you have a healthy mutual respect. I think that if you try to go ask, and they might be generous or they might be nice about it, but it's like I don't think the answer for you, if you're a small YouTuber, is to go and ask outside of, say, the YouTube coaching community. I don't think it's to go and ask your favorite big YouTuber for tips or nugget of advice out of their day. There are people they already have relationships with that they want to give their time to, and that should be a priority in their life. And I think that we have to have a healthy respect for boundaries. I think the best thing to do is to cultivate your own relationships and find who you think you can, who you will even really listen to if they give you healthy advice. Because I know that if Nick gives me advice, I'm going to listen to him. Daniel's been in the game a little less than us, and like is a smaller channel, and like Daniel's given me tremendous, great advice and introduced me to wonderful tools and things that like have helped me with research and things like that. So I also think there's a such thing as always respecting the idea that everybody always assumes somebody knows something you don't. Always
or a bunch of things that you don't.
But at
yeah,
bare
a
minimum,
bunch of things. Yeah.
But at a bare minimum, assume that there's a real chance that no matter who they are, somebody knows something that you don't.
Yeah, without question. So yeah, so that was the answer to your question there, Eric. So hopefully that was what you were looking for. Fable Beard Company, thanks for the 100 spot, man. I appreciate it for the super chat there. Says, mad love, keep pushing your amazing content. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It's a lot of coffee.
It's a heck of a lot of coffee.
Yeah, it's a lot of coffee.
Yeah, he needs it.
All right, we got Roger Wakefield in the house. What's up, dude? Nice to see you. Professor Nez. What's up, Professor Nez? Heidi Costume CO. What's up? Scully's House of Thrillers. What's going on? Heartbeat at our feet. Nice to see you in the chat as well. Okay, so next question that we have here on the list was, how useful are tags for a video? How effective are they? So that's from Smokey Burger. So when it comes to tags on your videos, and I'll hit this one really quick and then we can go to another one. But basically when it comes to tags on your video, it's still a feature in YouTube, still use it. So YouTube has basically said that the effectiveness of tags in terms of how people are interpreting what tags are for, they're becoming less and less relevant. So because of that, focus all of your efforts on your thumbnails and titles, getting people to click, and people watching your content. Because you'll see videos on YouTube, like there's optimizing for search, right? Of course, you want to make sure that you're, you know, adding the things in all the places, but like you'll see videos on YouTube that are like 're in search even, that don't even have a description or tags, right? It'll just be like a link going somewhere, and it won't have any tags on it. So seriously, it comes down to the content that you're making, getting people to click on it, getting people to watch it so that YouTube can get as much watch time per impression as possible for whatever source that you're trying to tap into, or all of them. Like that's the way that you win. It's important to ask questions like this so you can be like, okay, well, how important is it? How much time should I spend on it? But use them because it's a feature. Use them until they take it out, right? Because they just rebuilt their entire creator studio and they updated everything and they still have it there, right? So still use it, but just don't spend, half of your day trying to figure out the right tags to use. A really easy way to do this, a quick hack, use TubeBuddy. Use their tag explorer. Just go in and be like, is this relevant? Yep. Is this relevant? Yep. Is this relevant? Yep. Is this relevant? Yep. And then move on. And by relevant, I mean, is this specific tag relevant to what it is that I'm trying to bring attention to this video for? And do I have, is this category tag, is that relevant to what it is that I'm doing as well? But don't spend tons of time.
If nothing else, do this, because this is what John Prosser from Front Page Tech is doing. If nothing else, make branded tags to your channel that are channel unique and specific. That way, if a viewer watches your video and they watch enough of your videos, that's the classification of that interest, of the viewer's interest, is not the broad topic. It is actually your channel. So then it's about you. And I also know that this works because that's why commentary channels use the branded tags of a YouTuber if they're talking about a YouTuber, and then they show up to that person's audience. So make channel and brand specific tags if you're going to do nothing else. And if you don't want to focus on keyword research, or if you're an entertainment channel, make it specific to tagging like for example, if it was Nick, I would tell Nick, do Nick Nimmin YouTube, Nimminati, I would do hashtag add value. I would use the branded things associated with you, if nothing else, to be identifiers and classifiers for your channel as a topic.
Yes.
Boom.
Can I add one other thing that's something?
No. Nope.
Okay.
Sorry. No. Nope.
Well,
yeah, go ahead. Of course you can.
Sponsored by TubeBuddy, and if you are using TubeBuddy and you put tags into your videos, TubeBuddy, as long as you have the settings set to incognito, you'll get a better understanding. You've all seen it where the tags in your video will show up with little green numbers next to them and give you an idea for how your video is ranking in search for those targets. So if these are videos that you're trying to rank in search, it's a great way, forget about discovery, for you as a creator to throw in, say, I made this video and it would be great if this would rank in search for these 12 targets. Well, then put those 12 targets in your tags, and at a glance, using TubeBuddy, you can kind of get an idea of where you might be sitting in the rankings without having to spend a lot of time running around, figuring out, pulling up screens and checking where you sit.
So it's a multi-purpose tool is what you're talking about.
I think so.
It's best Swiss Army knife of YouTube.
Riot on Beats is the next channel here, and the channel is beat making. Very cool. Says I have to monetize my channel by the end of this year. The question is, I spend hours together creating a thumbnail, and someone who's making similar content as mine steals my thumbnail, even though I make sure to add my channel name in each of my thumbnails. How do I deal with it? If you are the originator of that content and that thumbnail, and someone is stealing 100% of the thumbnail and they're using that thumbnail 100% on their channel, technically you can issue a copyright strike to them for that. So when you go to issue a copyright strike, you'll notice that you have the option to do it for thumbnails and you'll have the option to do it for videos. So technically you can issue copyright strikes, but just be prepared if you are issuing a content strike, or a copyright strike, if you are doing that is a legal procedure, and it needs to be a legitimate thing, because if it's not, and you're not interpreting how they're using that thumbnail in the right way, then that can actually blow back to work against you. So make sure if you do issue any type of copyright strike for anything, that you're 1000% sure that you are in the right in terms of how that content is being used. And I'm using content because thumbnail is part of your content, but you have to make sure that you are 100% certain on how that content's being used.
Also,
the Nerdy Lady, welcome to the channel membership. Make sure that you check the community tab, and make sure next time you're on Facebook that you look for Nimminati VIP. So that's our members only Facebook group, and fill out the questions on the way in. What are you going to say, Roberto?
One security thing, Nick, is if you issue a copyright claim or copyright strike, be aware that person gets your legal given name, and they actually get the address that's tied to your YouTube channel. So for any YouTuber that's playing at this for serious and want to monetize, I would tell you to consider getting like a PO box or use your post office address as your address, not your actual physical address. Get a PO box, go to your post office, go to your local UPS, get that taken care of. It's like very cheap to do, because if you're at the point where you're playing for those stakes, you may not want someone who is already malicious towards you to have personal information about you, and that could go sideways very easily.
Great and advice. With that said, I do want to mention that Alvy the Cat here has a great Alvy Cat channel has a great solution as well. First, before you even think of doing any of that type of thing, like reach out to the creator and be like, hey, just noticed that you're using my thumbnails. I would really appreciate it if you would take that off. Maybe try to contact them through like a comment, maybe send them like an email through the About Me page, hit them up on Twitter if you need to, like whatever, to try to get them to take that down, because that's just being human about it is, of course, the first approach. Like when people steal my content, when I go into my copyright area and I see all the people in there taking my stuff, I actually give them like a 7-day notice first so they can take it down before I actually bring the hammer in and, you know, do all that stuff. So, you know, you want to make sure that you're also being human about it, because sometimes people do stuff and they don't even know. You know, like they're, oh, hey, I saw this other YouTuber that I watched said, hey, just take other people's thumbnails, right? And because of that, that person's like, oh, never thought of that. Let me take these other person's thumbnails, and then they start using them. And then, you know, to where if you just give them a nudge and let them know that what they're doing is wrong, then it might change the way that they approach things. So really quick, I just want to say thank you, Roberto. Thank you, Daniel, for coming on to the stream. We're going to wrap it up. And I want to say thank you to everybody for hanging out. For I hope that you got some type of value out of what was given here today. Have an awesome rest of your weekend. And I do want to mention that there's a link to Roberto's channel and to Daniel's channel down in the description of this video. If you're watching this on the replay, there'll also be one to Jevin's channel there as well. So and Brian's, G Johnson, there's a link to him down there as well. So thanks everybody so much for hanging out. And you guys.
Thanks for having us on, Nick. I appreciate these streams you've been doing lately. That allow
my pleasure. My pleasure.
Come in and talk to the YouTube community and give some advice. So we appreciate you for doing this, pal.
Yeah, my pleasure. You guys are always welcome.
Yeah, this is like the best, Nick. You do such an amazing job, and you do a great job and everything. Also, apologies whenever I like go on super rant tangents.
No, dude, I love it. I love it. I love it. I think people watching love it too. Like I think it's great, man. I think it's great. I think it's an awesome contribution because people need to hear all these different interpretations of all this information that we share. So I think it's fantastic, man. I absolutely love it. So yeah, so thank you guys so much for contributing and for being a part of this. I really, really appreciate it. And for everybody watching, thank you for hanging out and have an awesome rest of your week. And we will see you same time, same place next week.